Yo, what's good, boss?
Yo.
Hello. I didn't want to like just, you know, like those people that talk in chat and then you're like in chat and they have the mic and it's like unfair.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about that at all. Yeah, no, so like the reason I did the burritos to begin with is the internet doesn't understand anything about math, like ever. Yeah. You know this, I know this. They're not going to pay attention to that shit. They're just going to get like, oh, a wall of numbers, whatever. You have to turn it into something that's funny. So we, a long while back, we're like, how good are ads actually? Let's start tracking this. Let's start seeing how much ad revenue is actually coming through, and then start determining what the difference is on a per month basis to see if that lines up with the rest of the industry. This actually allowed me to see, in my small amount of data, if Twitch was performing close to the rest of what we could see across the internet, if it's following normal ad spend rates. Now understand, not an expert in ad spend rates, but am an expert on turning that into revenue that I can use with things. Like
you are an expert at that, yes. Yeah,
that's the whole idea with this is I need to find out exactly how much ad revenue I'm making, what are the trends for this, I need to know when those ad spends are going through so that I can understand, like calculate far ahead, go and find out how much ad revenue am I going to make throughout the year, when are the downturns for this, when are the upturns for this. And there are a couple of anomalies in there. Like I shouted them out in that post, which is kind of weird, but it showed me that this is still based on, like the amounts we're getting in are still within normal thresholds for this. And an adpocalypse would generally be, oh my God, everything is going to crash. And the only times that I have seen anybody's ad revenue drop now is when it's tag-based. And those tag-based things are really awful. I don't think Twitch should be doing any ad revenue shit based on tags. I think it's terrible. It doesn't make any sense. It's esoteric for the user. The user then has to go like, well, why did my ad rate drop? And it's just based on the tags that are in there, which is dumb, honestly.
Yeah.
So like, outside of that, we've seen them where they kind of misfired on some of those. So like one guy got demonetized because he had Iran in his title. And I can understand that Twitch would just add that to a list and then just be like, oh, all of these are politics because Iran is at war right now. Let's not have that in there, right? So like I get why some of those misfires would go off, the splash damage would happen with that. But the overall numbers that we're seeing here, especially in channels that have not been impacted by the tags, is it's exactly the same year over year. And maybe there is an adpocalypse brewing. Maybe there is something that's going on down the road. Maybe there are advertisers pulling out. But my point is, we don't have the data to prove that yet. We have conjecture. And that's the problem that I have with this, where I'm like, there is no adpocalypse currently. Everyone's claiming there is, but we don't have the data to prove that.
Okay. We have to separate two issues here, right? Like the first issue is the ads and tag system. So the tag system, I think, has nothing to do with the overall situation of ads on Twitch. That is to say that like people getting demonetized. I just made a pretty long form post on Twitch or on Twitter trying to explain what's going on that I'm seeing as an ad buyer, and what the tag system, which basically is exactly what you said. Like they did the most brain dead, boring way of basic way of doing this, right? Like they exported a list and then they said, we're going to demonetize if you have a political tag, right? And that's that. So I think we're
hit a whole bunch of stuff too. It's not
like Iran,
Iran, sexual content stuff, ASMR. People are saying that it's hitting them. Like it's all kinds of stuff that it's hit. And it's like, why would you do it that way?
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's just splash damage, people. Like it's got to be based on content classification or categories, like it always has been. Like or some with another tags is not the way to do it because they're user defined and we put memes in there. You know, like if you got a bunch of meme tags on your post, now you're like, my ad revenue dropped 90%. You're just going to think that you're screwed. You're not going to check the tags. There's no indicator that would ever be a thing that you would change. It's very strange.
So I think we're totally aligned on that issue. Like would you agree?
Yeah. No. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that the issue then is in the second part, which is the CPMs that, okay, so let's start a little while back. I know you know a lot about business. I'm going to talk to you like a professional and like we're gonna get into it. Like, and I think we can come to some kind of conclusion here. I didn't mean to I have such an utmost respect for you. You're one of my inspirations for broadcasting. So like, I don't ever want you to think that I'm coming at you from a bad angle. And I'm sorry if I sounded that way. Like
no worries.
The way, okay, so let's go over it. We can get into that later. So the CPM thing, previously, you remember a time when Twitch broadcasters monetized via flat CPM. So all of the ad money that you got paid was based on a flat CPM in your contract, right?
No. I don't have any extra. Are you talking about like an extra contract on top of the partner contract?
No. So the standard partner agreement from 2012 to 2022, like most of the history of Twitch was a flat CPM, and that number was between anywhere from $2.5 to $5. Okay. So streamers could expect to be if you had like premium deal or you had like a bespoke deal with Twitch, you get paid more.
I never had a special deal. Never did. Never have. Still don't.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. You probably should.
Probably should. I don't.
Yeah.
So I've got the standard partner agreement. I never had any changes. I never had to redo my partner agreement after my channel popped off. It's been exactly the same. I think since, God, I think it's been like 4 or 5 years, something like that. Yeah. Never had to redo it. Never ever.
Do you have a partner manager?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
That contract has never changed.
I think they should give you preferential sub. That's a whole other discussion. But okay, but
yeah. I got my 70-30 because I got my sub points. That's it.
Got it. Okay, yeah. So okay. So from 2022 to 2024, there was a significant change in the contract, and you can check this. Like you can go back to the old partner contract. You can look at what you signed, and it will say there was a flat CPM. It will tell you your flat CPM per territory. And so what changed in 2022 is they moved from a flat CPM basis to a percentage basis of the ad revenue spend that they make. Okay.
Can I find this under the current partner agreement?
Yes, you can.
Is it in the Twitch monetized streamer agreement, or is it in a different one?
If you go to your dashboard and you go to, I'll do the same thing, and we go to
under partner, yeah. Because I have view active partner agreement, yeah.
So you may receive a fee equal to the percentage set forth in your dashboard of net revenue for advertisements displayed or broadcast on your Twitch channel during your live stream performance.
55% is that.
There you go.
I don't think they give you a CPM.
Because
it's 30%. Yeah, so now they give you 30% if you don't run 3 minutes of ads per hour, and they give you 55% if you run 3 minutes of ads or more per hour.
Right.
And I've run 4 minutes of ads basically forever because of that.
Yes, and so a really important note here is that previously you were paid a flat CPM based on just the $2.5 to $5 number, and now that is a percentage, 55 or 30% of the CPM they get. It's a huge difference.
That is correct. So that was back in, I remember they gave me like an ad offer back in November of 2022. And that ad offer was quite high. I think it was $1,300 at the time.
It was really fucking high.
In December it dropped down to like $950, and then January it dropped down to like $700, and then February went down to $500. And it like decreased over time. And then they switched it over to the percentage-based system that we're talking about now. I remember that, yeah.
Yep.
I have those numbers here.
Same page. Okay. So now that we're on the percentage system, what that means is that Twitch can sell an ad for, let's say, a $10 CPM. They can sell it for a $20 CPM or a $1 CPM, and you will get a CPM by percentages relevant to the ad that they sell. But we can't know that data, right? Because we don't have, nobody has, even Twitch sales doesn't have a complete view of how advertising revenue is distributed across the entire platform. Right. So,
no, absolutely. In fact, I've asked them for that. I made a user voice for this a while back asking like, hey, we need more analytics on ad revenue, specifically calling that out, actually. I'll send this to you right now.
Okay. Okay, so therein is the essential. Oh, you actually did. Holy shit.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And it's back in, it's March 30th, 2023 is when I put that in. It's got like 2,400 votes. I even had a conversation with Mike Minton on Twitter publicly about my ad revenue at the time.
Yes.
Talking about specifically this problem. And in fact, it's the problem that they're dealing with right now, which is lack of transparency for ad revenue.
So we've offered 55% of ad revenue, but have no way to determine what the numbers exactly. Okay, I've done the same thing. I've had internal conversations. I've talked to Aragon about this. Yeah. Okay. So we're on exactly.
Unfortunately, Mike has his Twitter privated right now, so you can't see the thread anymore, which sucks. But like, this is I've been bitching at Twitch about this for years.
Yeah. Okay. So same page. So because this is an issue, it's basically made everything nebulous about this topic and this subject, right? I want to set all the foundations to get to where we are here, and where I think like kind of the center of the disagreement is that like,
correct.
If you are saying that there is no adpocalypse because we don't have 100% verifiable data that there is a change in Twitch CPMs on a macroscopic level, you are correct in saying that. But the problem is that data is not possible to get, right? Like even Twitch themselves don't have that data, and even if they did, they're not I can tell you they don't have that ad data because I run hundreds of thousands of dollars of ads, and they don't even give it to us, the buyers, to convince us to run the ads. They don't have any kind of like targeting. They don't have any kind of distribution. There's nothing they can sell me on to run ads like compared to something like AdSense or Meta, right?
Correct. The problem that I keep having and the problem I keep running into is that people are saying, oh, my ad revenue is dropping dramatically. My ad revenue is dropping dramatically. And you go and look at it. If you look at any one of these pages, I'll go pull them up on Twitch Tracker, I'll pull them up on Sully Gnome. And it's like, dude, you have 25% of the viewership you had last month. Of course your ad revenue dropped. And this keeps happening time. Every single one of these ones that I look into is that. Or they were running a tag that was demonetized, or they were running like sexualized content where they're getting the content classification stuff that's going on their channel. There has not been any type of evidence that proves this narrative. And yes, there may be a giant ominous demon in the future of like, oh man, the adpocalypse is coming. Maybe Twitch is losing advertisers. The problem I keep running into is people are posting it as a fact that is already occurring when we don't have the data to prove that.
Right. Okay. But aren't you doing the exact same thing, respectfully? Okay. As a result of saying, here's my page.
What I'm showing is I'm showing the data that is available that shows that nothing has happened yet. And when it does happen, I can post that data and be like, it has happened. This is occurring now.
Yes, but what about the people that are doing the work in journalism showing you that there are multiple brands who have personally said that they are stopping ads? Like if we don't have data because Twitch doesn't have that data, then we have to go to secondary or tertiary sources which are saying, like someone like me, where I have personally talked to IPG, Omicron, I'm on calls with the Twitch sales team, and I can tell you like categorically that brands have paused their ads. I can tell you who those brands are, right?
So you have to think about it this way, right?
Yeah.
As a streamer, this is going to sound a little bit weird. That side of that business is not relevant to me. What is relevant to me is what actually comes downstream. While there may be a change in ad spend on that side, if Twitch finds new advertisers or they shift things around in a way where a streamer does not actually get a change in revenue, that's kind of irrelevant when it comes down to it. That may be something that I may have to plan for and think about in the future, but there is no proof of change yet. Proof of change is the only thing that I have to care about. If the trend changes over previous income, then yeah, I'm going to have to go and look at that, but there's no proof of change yet. It may be something of like, hey, the sky might fall, but people are acting like the sky has already fallen. It's already over. It's a dead game, right? That kind of a thing that's going on, and that's not correct.
Understood. I think the reason why you do have to care is because this will represent for you like a 20 to 30% decline in ad revenue total over the course of the next 2 years. So you
that's the problem.
That's
the issue that I have. You say it will do this.
Yes.
We don't have the data to prove that.
We do.
As much as no,
it's just not hard data. It's secondary and tertiary data.
Secondary and tertiary data is just fine, right? If things stay exactly the same, if the things that people are saying are true, then yes, this could happen. But that's the problem with that. If things stay exactly the way that they are, and that's not how things work. We have to wait and see. Like it's easy to be like, oh, this is a dead thing. This is really, like, oh man, Twitch is going to lose all this ad revenue. It's totally game over. Nobody should be in streaming. Nobody should be doing this stuff. Do you know what I think the bigger issue with this is over anything else?
What?
It's trying to call that this has actually happened before it actually has, before we have that hard evidence. Because when you start to do that, you start to make people not want to spend on the platform, and it starts becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy in that way. That doesn't make sense to me to do that. When you know as well as I do, when an advertiser goes like, "Oh man, maybe I shouldn't advertise on that because nobody else is advertising that. Everyone's talking about it in a negative light."
It's a self-fulfilling
that's going to
prophecy.
scare away. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what you're having here is, from my perspective, is we have numbers that still look exactly the same to me on a downstream basis. We have people talking about doom and gloom as if it has already occurred, and there's no evidence to show that it has occurred, even though there's a potential that it could.
Okay, let me just give you some hard evidence, okay? There's been congressional meetings that have been announced pulling in Dan Clancy. Richie Torres has made tweets that says that they're going to call Twitch in to have a discussion about anti-Semitism and bad ads on the platform. The ADL has made a statement that objectively says that there is a huge problem on the platform and that they are talking to their agencies. They're the same people that took out monetization on Twitter. They're extremely powerful, right? And you can go on ADL's Twitter, right? Like this is all like pretty objective statements that there is something going on. No.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely something is going on.
Yeah.
But it's still just something. That's the issue that I have with this. Like when I'm making like plans for income like this, when I'm seeing this kind of stuff, I go, okay, let's wait for an anomaly. Let's wait for something to change. There's a lot of talk about this. Everybody gets whipped up into a frenzy over it. There's a lot of talk about anything that's going on. I'll give you an example. They were talking about banning TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, maybe I should stop posting on TikTok. Maybe that's going to be a problem. They're going to have all these congressional hearings about banning TikTok. TikTok is still there. Now they're talking about not banning TikTok. Imagine if I made a business decision on that to just suddenly stop producing content on TikTok. That would have damaged my business overall. And that's the same thing here where it's like, okay, I'm going to operate as normal until we have information that proves otherwise. And there's no information that proves definitively otherwise that I should be making any change in behavior yet. When there is, then I will, but there isn't yet. So we keep going the course. We keep expanding and doing the same things that we're doing. We keep generating the same amount of ad revenue that we were before. And we rely on that income and diversify in the same ways that we were before. I have no reason to panic because nothing has changed yet. And there's no indicator that it absolutely will change, just that it might.
Okay. So as an individual broadcaster making decisions on the future of your brand, right? Like I understand your logic. I completely agree with it. Where I guess I take greater issue is to make an authoritative subject that not the statement to the public that nothing is going on, right? Like you start your tweet with there is no adpocalypse, right? Is a yes. different thing from that sort of downstream analysis that you need to do to better plan for your business, which I agree with, right? Yeah, like you're making the right decisions for your business, but that to me doesn't tell me that you have objective data refuting that there is an ad situation going on.
Oh yeah, no. The reason why I say there's no Twitch adpocalypse because an adpocalypse is actually the ad revenue driving into the floor. That's what an adpocalypse is. I mean, we remember what happened on YouTube, 2017, right? Everything went to shit. All the ad revenue dropped into the floor. The adpocalypse is actually the action occurring. Could there be an adpocalypse? Yes. Is there one now? No. And that's the point of that.
So your definition of an adpocalypse is like a 90 to 100% reduction in revenue.
Even a 50% reduction would be massive, dude. Like even that would be enormous. And I'm not seeing that. No one I know is seeing that outside of people talking about this could occur, or people that are getting hit by the tags, or people that are producing sexual content, or people that are streaming less.
I see where we are going. Okay, I see the issue. Okay, because my definition of an adpocalypse is a 20 to 30% reduction in ad spend.
Even that's pretty wild. I haven't seen that even at all.
We can't. So where the rubber meets the road on this is December ad revenue. If you compare your December ad revenue, which you know is going to be like way higher on normal because of Q4 ad spending, then like your December ad revenue should be less than your December ad revenue in 2023, 2022, and so far. It will not reflect in November if brands are pausing now, because the ad budget is already spent. So that fill rate is already accounted for. But in a new month or even a new quarter, what my argument is you should be able to see that decline over Q1 of next year especially. And to some extent, I would think, okay, cool. Yeah. I
100% agree with that. And that's the thing. It's a future projection thing, not a definitive this is happening. It's a let's wait and see. Maybe it will. Let's wait for the data. And that's the problem that I think that's the big disconnect, man, is people are like, oh no, he's saying the adpocalypse will never happen. No, I'm saying the adpocalypse isn't happening right now. There's no indicator that it is. It may happen in the future based on the things you guys are talking about, but there's nothing going on right now based on the data. If that does happen, we can talk about it then. The other thing that I'm waiting for is because so many people are now suddenly paying attention to ad revenue, they're probably going to see the decline in January and February that happens every year that you realize, right? And they're going to be like, oh, the adpocalypse has finally occurred. I lost 50% of my revenue. Yes, you do every January. That's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But what you have to do is you have to take like a 90-day moving average and compare it against the former year. And
I guarantee you the general internet won't do that. They're going to freak out because they're suddenly looking at ad revenue. They don't know how it works. They're going to go into January and February and just be like, the end is nigh.
Yeah, the same way that why they were like, oh yeah, I'm demonetized like 2 days. And actually just Twitch doesn't update the data until for a couple of days. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's hard for me like to convince you that something is happening. I guess the place where I still have like a disagreement is like you're continuously saying based on the data. But I guess if the data is that there is no data, then yeah, based on the data, there isn't an adpocalypse, right?
That's the problem. It's because there's not data yet. There's a potential for it.
But that data is not possible to generate. We established that, right?
Exactly.
Like
that's the point, though.
Okay, but isn't that kind of like a workaround? Like, if you have like the ADL, if you have like legitimate news outlets saying, okay, like multiple brands have paused there, like why is that data not valuable to you?
Would you say there is an adpocalypse right now, occurring currently?
Would I say that like today streamers are making 20%?
The ad revenue that I'm pulling in today. Is that happening right now?
Is what specific? I just want to be really specific. Is there
a 20 to 30% reduction? Because you think you say that an Adpocalypse is 20 to 30% reduction. Right?
Yeah.
Is there a 20 to 30% reduction happening right now on streamers' accounts across the platform? Right now.
Okay, here it is. No, but I think that within a week or two there will be, because again, if you pause ads, you still have budget and fill rate. When that fill rate runs out, that will be the problem. Yes,
and that is exactly the point. I think there will be within 2 to 3 weeks. There may be in 2 to 3 weeks. I believe there will be in 2 to 3 weeks. It's a projection, and that is why I say wait on it. Wait to see the data. And for everybody claiming it is here, the end is nigh, oh my God, this is awful, everything is falling apart. No, it might. It might. And we don't have the data to prove it because, as you said, the data doesn't exist. So why are we making decisions and freaking out and the sky is falling on something that doesn't exist yet and stating it's a fact?
Let me give you an analogy.
It's potential.
Okay, so if a bomb drops, okay, and like a nuke hits a city, all right, okay, the initial explosion is something that like everybody can see happen and the damage is done. And then there's a shock wave that goes out from that.
I'm aware.
Huh?
Yeah, no, I'm aware of that.
Okay.
I can understand what you're saying. Is the explosion goes, shockwaves happen.
Yeah, so so what I'm saying is like we've clearly seen the explosion and like the shockwave is coming. It's not a might thing. Like the people have paused their ads. So that fill rate is going to be reflected in the future. It's not a prediction. It has happened. The bomb dropped. The explosion shockwave is just yet to hit us. Does that make sense?
I can see what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the bomb dropped. You're saying the bomb dropped for that kind of stuff. The only thing that I have seen in terms of advertisers pulling out right now is claims from within Twitch from unverifiable employees. I can't make a business decision based on that. If you have other data that claim backs this up, that'd be great. Because everything that I've seen so far is from journalism and thing online where they're like, hey, we talked to a Twitch staff member. They declined to have their name on it. We know that 11 advertisers are pulling out, but we can't say who those are. And it's like, dude, what am I supposed to do with that shit? Nothing.
I guess in lieu of like verifiable hard numbers that we can't get, I guess I put more stock into that type of stuff. Like when I have been, I mean, all I can do is give you the same rhetoric, which is I've been on the phone calls with Twitch sales. I've been on the phone calls with ad buyers who are saying we paused our ads. I know one of those brands is Chase, for example. Like they've paused their ads and they're not renewing right now. They might renew later. That's like a might. I don't know. But like there are brands that have paused their ads. Like. And this is being confirmed by multiple different sources. So you kind of either trust that or not. And as like an ad buyer running ads on Twitch, my job every day is to spend money for brands and to figure out where that brand money goes. I'm really on the up and up with this conversation. So like either everybody is telling me wrong stuff, people that personally run those ad budgets, or something is happening, right?
So to be real with you, as I said before, as a streamer, what I care about is the throughput from this. If that is happening, it will eventually trickle down and come to me, and my ad revenue will reduce. Right? It's going to happen to every other streamer.
Can I challenge that real quick, though? That issue of, as a streamer, you care about the throughput of it. The problem is, as a advocator to other people, with a lot of people listening to you, I would argue you kind of have an obligation to talk at their level as well. So when you say that they're...
Which is what I've been doing.
But when you say something like there is no Adpocalypse, there is no problem on Twitch, that's not an effect of your downstream business or throughput of your business. That's an effect of you as a content creator saying something on authority that people are going to trust, and then they're going to make their own decisions based on. Do you see?
Where have I said that there's no problem on Twitch?
The first thing you said was...
No, it says there's no Twitch Adpocalypse because there isn't one currently.
We're splitting hairs, right?
No, because that's a very important distinction to say that there's no problem on Twitch. That is a very important one. The reason that I made the statement that I did, do not read into it or read between the lines or try to add extra verbiage to this. There is no Twitch Adpocalypse. Currently, none of our ad revenue has changed. That is an objective statement, not something outside of that, not something to be misconstrued in another way. Currently, all of our ad revenue is exactly the same. And we could see that across this. The issue that I've been seeing across the internet is loads of content creators claiming otherwise, claiming that their ad revenue has dropped. And if you look into every single one of those situations, they have tags that are incorrect on their stream that are being mistargeted by Twitch.
Yes.
Or they have a massive reduction in the amount of hours that they're streaming, or a massive reduction in the amount of viewers that they have. Across the board, they have other reasons for dropped ad revenue. This is specifically saying our ad revenue has not dropped. Across the board, there is no adpocalypse. That's it. Could there be one in the future? Sure. And when people misconstrue it and take it off into the future, that's what the hell am I supposed to do with that?
Well,
right?
Yeah.
I state that there isn't one now. Here's my data. It's not happening.
Do you feel like the intent that people draw from this is not going to be there is nothing happening, income is exactly the same on the entire website? There's no issue whatsoever.
There is right now. The income hasn't changed yet. If it changes in the future, great, man. Like, then we'll know. But to claim it's cart before the horse shit is what I'm seeing here. Mm-hmm. You're having people claiming this is a definitive fact. This has already happened. Everybody's ad revenue is dead. Oh, you better jump off Twitch. People are claiming like, oh man, I got to go to Kick. I got to start streaming on YouTube instead. Like people are immediately trying to be like, jump ship. Oh shit, everything's bad. Mm-hmm. And it's like, dude, nothing's changed yet. Nothing has changed. When it changes, cool. Should we plan for that a little bit? Maybe. But like, to be real with you, to try and claim that this has already occurred, that the sky has already fallen, is absurd to me.
That's okay. But the reason why a lot of people I think are pushing back against this take, and like why I'm pushing back a little bit, is because we have seen this concern raised from brands, again, with lots of journalism. And again, like we already went through all the sources and everything that have said that there is a serious situation, that the bomb has been dropped, and that people should be aware and maybe should be making, especially smaller or medium-sized content creators whose decision-making is going to be different from yours. Your income is basically guaranteed because of your viewership. Even if you lost all of your revenue on Twitch, you would be fine on YouTube or somewhere else. But like for these smaller creators whose fill rates are going to be affected or things like that, I think that the message that you're sending by making a post like this is that they have nothing to worry about. And that would be the takeaway that they would have from this. And the message I'm sending is like, hey, pay attention. Twitch is making serious mistakes, and you need to like do things like multi-stream. You need to do things like diversify. You need to do things like create content in other places so that you can have a more holistic and protected brand. Does that make sense?
I think what it comes down to is we're both right in a different way.
Yeah, that's
I think
fair.
you are correct. I think you're correct in the statement where you say that people need to be diversifying doing that. I always tell people exactly the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm correct in the statement saying our ad revenue has not dropped yet. If it does, then I'll let you know. But it hasn't changed. And I think the reason, if you want to know why I put this out, we may have seen different parts of Twitter throughout this argument today. Yeah. A lot of the things that we've been seeing constantly today is people making false claims about their ad revenue, making false claims about the content that they provide, making false claims about the viewership that they have, all day saying, Twitch is ripping me off, Twitch has dropped my ad revenue, everyone should be afraid, oh God, oh God. And then people suddenly finding out what ad revenue is, looking back into theirs and not understanding how it works. And it's been like that all day. It's been an absolute mess. And to be real with you, having 10,000 people on stream just shitting themselves violently, worried entirely about their ad revenue all day, and me going, the analytics show
sucks.
It's absurd. Yeah, it's insane to watch. So I was like, okay, here's all of my analytics. Do with it what you will. Nothing has changed yet. What do you want, right? And if people in the future, if things go off in the future, cool, then we can go and address that. And I think, to be honest with you, the most likely outcome to me is we'll probably have a little bit of a dip. And then after that, there's going to be the fall off in January and February. And that fall off in January and February is where people are going to say, everything was right. It was an adpocalypse after all, because they don't know the history of ad cost. Yeah. They don't know the history of January and February actually falling off every single year, because that's normal. And I hate that. Like, that bothers the shit out of me to see that the general internet has now just been exposed to this type of information, doesn't have the context for it, and is going to be misled in January when this occurs.
I think I'm annoyed by the exact same thing, and that's that. Like, like multiple people are coming to me and saying like, "Oh, hey, the stock guy showed an image of a tag, and now that's proof of an adpocalypse, and oh wait, now he showed that the tag is related to this thing, and that's proof of not an adpocalypse." So the amount of misinformation is why both of us created posts from different angles.
Yeah, we did. That's exactly it. And like, when you look at that, the tag thing is relevant, but not relevant to the overall thing. It
Yes.
is something that is going on, but it's not indicative of an adpocalypse. The problem that I
Yes.
am seeing is people are taking that tagging issue and they're running with it going, my ad revenue was dropped by 90%. It's the adpocalypse. And then they're freaking out about this all over the internet. And that's not correct. So yeah, I think we're just attacking the same issue.
Okay. And the problem I'm seeing is that people are, I guess from the reverse, is that people aren't actually taking the issue of like what an adpocalypse means on a macroscopic level seriously. And that was the purpose of my post, was to show that like, hey, the actual situation of spending ads on Twitch is dog shit. Like, I've done this a lot. Here are like the 4 categories that we evaluate to make a decision on if we're going to run ads on the platform or not, right? Like return on advertising spend, demographics, things like that. Twitch is failing at all of these. If they continue to do this, you as a broadcaster and every single broadcaster will see a significant decline in advertising revenue. Because you probably remember this, is that like, you've been streaming for a while, right? How many years you streamed?
7 years.
7 years, yeah. And I remember your YouTube video back, like you remember like Twitch making money off of ads. Just streamers making money off of ads is like a relatively new phenomenon.
It's super new.
Yeah.
Like this only started happening in like 2022.
Yes.
I think is when that started happening. It's only been a couple of years.
We used to monetize completely off subs.
No, we did it all off of subs. We did it off of donations. We were completely at the whim of PayPal doing chargebacks.
Yep.
Like it sucked, man. And then like suddenly ad revenue is a thing now. And now ad revenue is 30% of my income. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like ad revenue actually exists now. And even then, like the ferret rescue that we run, that's completely run off ad revenue. It's like 95% off ad revenue, which is wild. And yeah, diversifying that out. I've got merch stuff coming out. I've got other things that I'm doing that, making YouTube videos for that, because that's what you're supposed to do as a streamer anyway.
Yes.
Like you should be diversifying that shit. And I think this is the whole thing is literally just, could there be an adpocalypse? Sure. Do we seeing the data right now? No. And if the data comes through and I'm like, hey, look, the ad revenue dropped, great. Then we could talk about that.
Right. So totally agree on that. So like Twitch, so I guess like where I'm at is that it is a new phenomenon that you are making money off of ads now on Twitch, means that like on YouTube, the average content creator like literally just makes all of their money off of ads. Like they get paid a CPM deal, they get paid out on 1099. They're like, cool, that's my money, right? Like, and so like for Twitch to adopt that kind of ecosystem would be healthy for broadcasters to give them another diversified method of income. My problem is that like the decisions that Twitch is making and the verifiable, my argument is verifiable, the verifiable brands that we have pulling out of the platform, the writing on the wall is showing that Twitch's ad platform is not keeping up with AdSense and Meta. And like, to me, this is not a prediction. This is not this is a objective statement of fact. Like if I go run $100,000 on Meta versus $100,000 on Twitch, I will outperform my Twitch campaign every single time. I promise you this is the truth. I promise you. Right. And it's because of the 4 things that I mentioned on my tweet. There's bad targeting on Twitch, there's bad demographics, and that sort of thing. So I think that if you tell streamers that like basically there's nothing going on, to me, I would rather a broadcaster be a little bit afraid and look into their options and look into like, oh, maybe I need to multi-stream. I'm not like I need to cancel my Twitch account and go to Kick. I agree those takes are ridiculous, but
they're insane. They're
insane.
Way over.
They're insane, and I'm sure you're getting thousands of those messages in your Twitch chat. Every second. What I would love to see is people become more aware of the total macroscopic ad situation on Twitch and make more informed decisions for their business on the basis that it is not keeping up with the digital ad spend across the industry.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So let's put it at this then. Mm-hmm. Would you agree that there is not currently an adpocalypse happening on Twitch?
I would agree with that, but I think that
I would agree that there is.
Yeah,
I would say that I would agree that there is a potential for one to happen in the future based on what is occurring outside of that. That would be my agreement.
Okay, so let's word this a little bit differently. Would you accept that there is a guaranteed drop in ad revenue in 2 to 4 weeks? When affiliates end up dropping?
I think that's pretty soon. And the problem is it's hard to find out if that would correlate with the January drop-off. So if I look at my ad revenue from January from the year before, we've got a 0.511, we've got a 0.402 and a 0.321 based on the data that I have there for that BPM that I calculated out. If it's lower than those, I think the worst month we've ever had was February 2023 at a 0.321. The worst one ever. If it's lower than that, I would agree with it. In those months. And it really comes down to that is I need the data before I can agree to that. And I don't have that data. There's a potential, but there's no data. And we can't get the data until we have it. Does that make sense?
Yep, but you don't agree. So the data, like what's this called? Would you agree that multiple news outlets posting that brands are dropping is data of a kind, or would you not think that? Are you only hard numbers?
I would say that I like hard numbers, man.
Yeah.
Like really when it comes down to it. I'm absolutely for hard numbers. I can always take into account like, yes, this may occur. That goes into my like might bucket, right? Where it's like, hey, this is something to pay attention to. This may occur in the future. Let's pay attention to that. And there's tons of that stuff, right? There's tons of things like geopolitical stuff that's going on. There's tons of things that are happening with war. There's tons of things that are happening with like, hey, maybe ad revenue is going to change or different regions are going to be changed or whatever it's going to be, right? That's the might bucket. The hard data is this. When I actually have the math, I have the numbers, I know exactly what income it is, then we can have that. That's the difference between these two things for me.
Got it. But we can't get that data macroscopically for any stream but yours.
That is only for me. I can't look beyond that. I've got 2 streams worth of data of hard numbers where I can see every single possible analytic for that Twitch provides.
Okay, but as an ad buyer...
The only way that I can see more than that is by talking to other people. As an ad buyer, you have a different perspective and different information.
Yes. And so if I'm seeing across the board that the vendors who buy ads on Twitch that are spending XYZ budget per month are pulling or pausing those ads, is that worth anything to you?
Yeah, but I take it with a grain of salt. I always take those things with a grain of salt because while you see that ad buyers are actually doing that, I can't tell or verify the claim. It's for me, it's the trust but verify, man. Like I trust that you're telling the truth based on the information that you have, but I need to verify that claim and I can't yet because there's no data to do that.
The only way that you would agree on a Twitch, on a reduction in ad revenue is if you yourself see your ad revenue reduce, it sounds like.
Myself or anyone else that wasn't involved with a reduction in viewership or a reduction in streamed hours or a reduction because this ridiculous tagging system that Twitch has just implemented. Yeah. Yeah.
So then there is no way to convince you of this unless we just wait.
Because it's too soon. Exactly.
Yeah. But then why not say it is too soon to tell rather than there is no adpocalypse, there's nothing going on?
Because there's not currently an adpocalypse. I didn't say there's nothing going on. I said there's not an adpocalypse. Currently, there's not an adpocalypse. That's an objective fact. Like, we don't have the data to prove that.
That's an objective fact, but it's like a little bit of a red herring because like you're implying that there's nothing going on. You see what I mean? That's the whole issue.
You could take the implication from that, but I didn't say that, right? Like that's really what that comes down to. You have to understand I'm very direct in the way that I speak. I know people might take implications from things, but like there's no way how am I supposed to know that from a person, right? I put it in objective information out. I say there is no Twitch adpocalypse. Here is all of my data. That's it. Walk away. Like, and there's no way to prove that there's an adpocalypse right now because it's too soon to call.
Yeah, and we agree with that. We agree with all that. But like what I'm saying is that like when you post as a content creator, you have a certain intent and a certain like your messaging is not just directly what you say. Like you have a certain intent to what you're saying, right? It feels like to me that by making this statement, you're saying pretty objectively that like there is nothing going on and there's nothing to worry about.
Currently, yeah. No, there's nothing going on right now that I can see. The only thing that I can see is that I get my own analytics. My own analytics show that nothing has changed.
I know,
Could it change in the
but
future?
You're saying
sure.
With authority, like you're saying stuff like look, like I run a business completely based on ads. Like I know this to be the case. People are blowing this up. Legit, nothing is going on. And all these cases provided, there's normal behavior of misuse targeting. It's a lot of people suddenly discovering how ad revenue works on platform. Like
based on all the information we have, that is accurate.
But you don't think that like you I mean, you could have posted like, what if you post like one sentence that says something like I'm aware of the concerns that are going on with like brands like allegedly pulling out of like, even that would like sort of acknowledge that you believe this other side exists, right?
I mean, I guess I could put something out like that, but to be honest with you, like that's more of the content that you're putting out. I can't talk about that because even if I know that those brands are allegedly pulling out, that's just me going, this is allegedly occurring. That is not useful. You have that information because you deal with people that are actually doing ad spend. I don't have that insight. I have the other side of the insight, which is I have my analytics as a streamer. I have a lot of throughput in ads as a streamer, and I can show this information, and this is all that I have. I can't speak with authority outside of that. That would be weird, right?
Yes, but do you feel like as a content creator, you're in a bit of a rock and a hard place always as a content creator of your size because what you say doesn't just have like, even if you say everything objectively as you have, like you've put out your own data, you put out your own statement and your own experience on the current subject, like everything you say is going to be interpreted and driven towards a certain narrative depending on how it leans. And so it's for that reason that like when you say
Which
something,
is why I put out objective data and numbers, because people are always going to misconstrue you for their narrative or the other side of a narrative. They're going to try and take that, and I will always just put out data for that instead of dealing with that shit.
But
I know how the internet functions and that. You know how the internet functions.
You
put anything out, they're going to use it for their own means, their own narrative. They're going to twist it in whatever way that they need to in order to prove whatever truth they need to. Put the numbers on the table, walk away with it.
But you don't feel like the total narrative that you have done by making a statement like this subjective and this solid is like, hey, nothing to worry about, nothing like there's nothing going on. I understand you didn't say that directly, but you don't feel like that narrative was broadcast by this position that you've taken?
No, I don't. I don't at all. I feel like I've said the Twitch Adpocalypse is not happening. It's not happening right here. We don't have the data to show it, and that's it. This is a direct refutation of everybody that was saying, oh my God, my ad revenue is dropping. Like outrageous, ridiculous claims all day. There's no ad revenue drop yet. It's counting chickens before they hatch. Could it happen in the future? Does it look likely that it might based on the information you have? Sure. Has it happened yet? No.
Okay. I would say that like when this is something I've thought about a lot with like content creators and like you are not in this bucket. I think that originally when the catalyst and genesis of this conversation was me being frustrated that you're coming a little bit into this bucket, which is like there is a certain level of React broadcasters and that like give an opinion and give a take on something, have an intent on something that is just not informed. Like they're giving a take on something because their business's attention, they need to have an opinion and they need to have a take on something, right? And so like when a person makes like an objective statement about something, it drives the audience and it drives viewers in a certain way. I would like content creators, especially of your stature and the respect you have in the industry, to be careful about doing that because the downstream effect will be enormous based on like what your take is. Like you have an incredible amount of influence over other people.
If people take from this that they need to sit on Twitch and do nothing else with the rest of their brand, they haven't been listening to anything that I've been saying, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Every single time that I ever talk about any of this stuff is you should be releasing things on YouTube. You should be making shorts on YouTube. You should be releasing stuff on TikTok. You should be putting stuff, hell, even on Facebook. You should be putting it on Instagram. You should be doing all of this everywhere else. And if somebody sees this and goes, wow, there's no Twitch Adpocalypse because the data's here, I should put all of my things into Twitch and only there and nowhere else. That's not my fault. That's on them. Like that's ridiculous at that point.
So because you believe that the breadth of your content is accurately just like done the rest of the work, like to get people to diversify. And I've watched your content and I agree with that. Yeah.
And I think that really what it comes down to is you'll have people that read this kind of a thing and they'll react to it in a really bombastic way.
Yeah.
And they'll try to pick it apart and twist it towards a specific narrative, whether that's pro or con against Twitch. They'll try to turn it into, their hatred of Hassan, which is talking about right now, or their hatred of what's going on with the other side of that argument, or trying to say that one person is disparaged or another person is disparaged. And really what it comes down to is the data provided to a streamer that shows our ad revenue does not show a significant decrease. In fact, it shows a normal increase for fourth quarter, just like it does every year. Okay, and that's it.
Yeah. I think both of our views are actually compatible in a funny way, because like you are objectively correct that nothing categorically has happened yet, right? And I think that I am also correct in that I have seen a lot of the rumblings and the thunder and the people that I'm talking to and everything, and like I do respect like the work that Richard Lewis does. I think that he's a good journalist, and like that I think he puts a lot of work into this kind of stuff. I do believe he talked to those brands. I have also had secondary confirmation from those brands and those spenders and have heard that this is a problem. So like I guess it's just two sides of the coin at the end of the day. Yeah.
What I want from this is to put out objective data, just objective data, and stay away from the absolute insane culture war that has spiraled out of this.
What do you mean by culture war?
I don't give a shit. Oh, no, people are talking about it where it's like, oh, anti-Semitism on Twitch. There's people talking about like, oh, Hassan said these things, or Asmongold is this, or any of the shit. I don't care about any of that.
Why not?
I care about the objective data that we have with this. Why not? Because you get into politics with that. I don't talk about politics. I never do.
I don't either.
Yeah, I hate that shit, to be honest with you. It's not positive in any way. It doesn't add any benefit to the viewer in this case. I don't want to give my take on it. Splits your audience. None of this is positive, right?
Yes.
It's not what I do on my broadcast. So with that, I go, here's the numbers that I have. This is the only thing that we have with the numbers. You guys are going to go fight about the ideological battle on the other side. That's not about me. I don't care about that.
Do you, okay, I promise you I'm not digging you into a corner with this one. Like, that's not my objective, right? Is because I'm also the same as you. I don't go right or left. Nobody here knows my political affiliation. We are so aligned on this shit, man.
They don't know mine either.
Yeah. We're so aligned on this shit. So one thing that I do think is our concern as broadcasters and as people in this industry is that if there is extreme, it doesn't matter if it's right or left. It does, like, let's throw out all that shit. Hassan, whoever, Destiny, don't care. But if that content, that polarizing content that advertisers are dropping, are pausing ads, we'll say droppings of strong words, so say pausing ads over. If that exists on the website, do you think that it is worthwhile to have a discussion on whether that stuff should be here or not? Like, but macroscopically, not right or left.
If you're wondering my take on that, I wish politics wasn't on this platform.
I do too. I fucking call for that. Yeah.
No, so, dude, I wish politics and sexual content of any kind wasn't on this platform. Mm-hmm. I wish that it wasn't there because it scares away, as we talk about, advertisers in general. I think that it is a dangerous thing for the platform overall. I think it's polarizing for the platform. It hurts the brand of Twitch, and none of this is good. I've always wanted that off the platform. I've been talking about that for years of like, I really hate this, which is why I don't have that content on my stream. I've always talked about that being the case. All of that is dangerous for every other content creator on here. And if you are correct in your statement where you're saying that all of these people are pulling advertisement and it's going to create an adpocalypse, then it will be because of that content scaring away those content creators.
100%.
That's the issue.
Exact same page.
If it is, though, and that's where we're split on it, which is objectively, I cannot prove that is happening yet.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure that you were on the same page with that issue, and I think you were because you sent me the bro fist on the last tweet that I made, which was asking to ban all of that type of content. And
I would love.
What's that?
I would love for that shit to go away. Yeah, it's bad for the platform. It's bad for everyone involved. And to be honest with you, we actually have automatic bots that will ban people when they come in and make political statements all the time. People that come in and try to say like, "Oh, vote for Trump" or "Vote for Kamala."
Yeah, whoever.
Both of them get banned every time. Yeah. Like we literally get rid of all of it because I'm like, I don't want any soapboxes in this damn chat. Get out of here, right?
Yep.
Because it's not for that. It's for an environment where people can be creative, and I don't care about your political affiliation. I don't care about where you were born. I don't care about how you feel about what war. None of that shit matters to me. That is not what this content is about. It's about creating things.
Completely agree. So I think that the purpose of the discussion about the anti-Semitism and like the extreme content or whatever it is on Twitch is to field this issue ultimately of whether that stuff should be on the platform or not. And that's why I think it's actually a pretty important discussion to field. I think I'm on the exact same page with you of like, I don't like the sides either. And like, I don't take sides. I want it all gone. Right? Because I missed fucking video games, dude. I missed times like to me.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I've talked about like, you both. I started streaming in 2012. I was a League of Legends streamer / competitive dancing streamer. Okay, like I totally get it. Like the type of content that I miss on this website is like authentic video games. All the shit that you do with Ashes of Creation and stuff like that. I watch your stuff all the time. It's fucking great. Oh, yeah. So I that's the kind of stuff that I miss. And I also like had a dream for this website of the kind of Kai Cenat style of broadcasting where you're pushing live content forward by doing really cool shit that can only be expressed on a live medium, and you're not making it political or weird or awkward or whatever. So
I actually really like Kai's streams, even though I don't like all of his content all the time. I love what he's doing for the platform, where he's bringing in more traditional celebrities into a space that generally doesn't have those. Like that's a really big deal for Twitch. That's a really big deal for the whole platform as a whole, and it's really freaking awesome. And the production value of the shit that he does is insane.
Off the charts.
It's wild, dude. Like you've got like movie quality videos coming out of this dude all the time. You're like, how the hell? Like that's insane shit to watch.
He is single-handedly pushing content forward in a way that we haven't seen since like Germa or like a lot of the broadcasters that were doing those really high production like content. Even they couldn't do it as consistently as like the Mafia Fun or things like that. So like when I see and so like when I see that vision for Twitch, I have a dream of like what the website could be, and I think you and I both probably share equal passion and like we both want this website to succeed. Like a lot of people, they think I'm a grifter and they're like, oh, like you want Twitch to burn down to the ground. Like, dude, like my entire life is possible ultimately because of this website. Like that's how Riot Games found me, and that's how I owned an esports team. Like all that shit happened because I was originally on Twitch. So like I don't want this website to go anywhere, but I'm super concerned that if we don't address these problems of this high level polarizing content at the top of the discovery feed, then we are really going downhill as a website. And that discussion needs to be brought up and constantly brought up to C-levels at Twitch to have them recognize what this problem is. Like, I don't see how Twitch doesn't see this as a huge problem.
Do you think that the best way to handle that, though, is to try and go and rally a whole bunch of people to harass advertisers? Do you think that's a good way to do it? Do you think it's a really good way to do that by harassing people like Mike Minton, who's the head of monetization at Twitch, until he privates his Twitter account?
Of course
I don't
not.
think that's being handled well, dude. Like, I don't think the initiative to try and fix the problem that you've portrayed there is being handled in a way that is effective or good. And I think that right now, if advertisers do back out of this, you're just going to have a whole lot of other people that are hurt in the crossfire instead of fixing the actual issue.
But what option do you have if you have tried to talk at the level, like many of us have been at a C level? I have talked to these guys. You've talked to these guys. You've got a user. Funny enough, people don't realize that Pirate's a user voice thread. User voice is one of the best ways to get in touch with Twitch, unironically. It's like
got a lot
like
of them on there.
The devs like actually read it, and so like I think that what has happened is that a lot of people have failed those methods of communication, and now there was when this original thing started, the take that I had was, look, we can email the advertisers. I think that's an appropriate thing to do, actually. Like I think using the word like harass the advertisers is different from like emailing advertisers and being like, hey, I've got concerns over like what's going on the platform. I say that's fine. Don't attack Dan Clancy. Don't attack people as individuals. Right? Because I think that lowers your argument.
That's not how it plays out.
Sorry?
That's not how it plays out, though. You know that's not how it plays out. Yes, there are going to be some sane individuals that send sane emails, but that is not the internet, dude. I've been told to kill myself like 100 times today alone. That's what it's like being in one of these positions. You know that shit.
Of course.
So the moment you give anybody on the internet some kind of an initiative and a feeling that they are a part of something greater than themselves, they go off the deep end with that. Some people do. The grand majority of people either stay away from it or don't talk. Some people send the nice things. So yeah, you're going to get crazy amounts of harassment from this kind of stuff. And I really think that there might be better ways to handle this.
Like
I do think that Twitch needs to be real with you, I don't think Twitch is ever going to remove all political content from the platform.
I know.
I think they need to better enforce their categories, and then a lot of this problem goes away. It's really what it comes down to. Because like what they did was they put it into this tagging system. The tagging system is dog, man.
It's so bad.
It's a terrible system to use for that. It's caught a lot of people in splash damage in the crossfire. It makes no sense. If they would actually enforce the categories, make a politics category, push everyone into that category, and then demonetize the category for ad revenue, a lot of this problem would go away. But Twitch doesn't enforce their categories either. Everybody just eventually mills back out to just chatting, and they have to put them to these content classification systems. It doesn't work. Like they have to enforce the categories. And I've always thought that, but they keep building system on system on system to solve a problem that is just push them into the right category. If you build these types of systems like tagging for, to try and do ad revenue for that, you've just made another problem in a weird way. In fact, the scariest problem from this is the tagging demonetization system can now be weaponized against Twitch. And it already is being weaponized against Twitch.
You want to know some crazy tech?
Sure.
Okay, if you want to pause ads on your streams right now, you can just put Iran in your
exactly
tags.
Exactly what I was saying. Yeah. Yes. That's how it's being weaponized against Twitch. That's exactly what I was talking about. Yeah. You could literally put politics or election or Iran or any of that kind of stuff in your tags, and you don't get ads on your
It's amazing,
channel. It's freaking insane. And like, dude, I was sitting there, I was watching the time is a flat circle thing with Asmongold. It just made me laugh my ass off, which is like, Asmongold's on Twitch. He's not running ads. We're going to force ads onto his channel. Asmongold's doing politics. Politics are ruining Twitch. Advertisers want their ads off of politics. We're going to make him have a content classification and not have ads anymore. Wait. It's like, God damn it, dude. And then they introduced this tagging system, and I'm like, dude, if you do that, the first thing that people are going to do is ads make it so that I don't get new viewers. I'm not going to have ads anymore.
Of course.
Tagged as politics. And it's like, how did you not understand player behavior enough to know that was going to occur? That's a player behavior failure on Twitch.
So my take 100%. On that is this, okay? Like, I feel like that was the only option they had, because when YouTube was creating the ad system because of the Adpocalypse, you mentioned the Adpocalypse in 2017. I've covered that a lot too recently. And what happened in 2017, YouTube said, okay, we can go two directions with this. Either we are like literally going to have to rethink the monetization model for this entire website, or we are going to have to build a sophisticated machine learning system that actually identifies what content is classified as bad behavior, and we have to combine that with a self-rated system that YouTube currently uses where users flag their content, and then a combination of automatic and manual labor is done to verify if that content is over politicized or extreme or sexual or whatever. And YouTube spent billions of dollars building that system, billions of dollars, and 2 years of pain, brother. Like pain.
I know.
Like people getting demonetized, people getting kicked off the platform, people getting banned. Twitch has not done that work. They should have done that work in 2015.
They should have done it years ago. I agree with that. And YouTube has actually been broken in that way, even randomly. Like even when my channel popped off in November of last year, we actually got like flagged as being what looked like botted views, right, on YouTube, and my viewership dropped into the floor. It actually became the top post on YouTube subreddit of like, why am I not seeing Pirate Software stuff anymore? And we showed the analytics for it and showed that I had basically lost 99% of my new viewership anytime that we put up a new post. And they had to fix that. So even YouTube still screws this shit up sometimes, even with the massive amount of effort they put into this. And they fixed it. They actually fixed it for everyone when we showed that.
So would you say that like then a platform, did you see that TwitchCon announcement where Dan was standing on stage and he said, we haven't updated our mobile app in 7 years?
No, I didn't see
that. It's a direct clip. It's one of my shorts. So like it's up there. Okay, it's a direct quote. Like he literally, I'm not paraphrasing. He said we haven't updated our Twitch mobile app in 7 years. So it's like when I take a statement like that and I look at the competency of the organization overall, I'm like, how the fuck can these guys possibly build a multi-billion-dollar machine learning automatic manual ad system on the basis of this? And so they're forced to do these content classification labels because they have no other vertical to be able to improve it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And like I think the problem is they don't have a way of doing proper categorization. They don't have a way of, they have a way of doing proper categorization. They just don't enforce it. We've known that for years. They don't push people into the right area. And now we've got this issue where they have a whole bunch of content that they're not able to wrangle, and they're trying to prove to advertisers that they need to be able to have that content wrangled in a way that makes sense, where advertisers are not advertising on a channel that has some type of extreme take. And I don't think they have a good system in place. I think the tagging system is a bad system. And I think there is a lot of potential for bad there. You know,
totally agree.
There's a lot of potential for harm. The point that I will always make is there is a potential for this. Let's wait and see. And I've done that take many, many, many dozens of times over the years. It's the same one that I already have, which is this looks like it could happen. Let's wait and see. And when people jump the gun and they go, this has happened, I go, there's no data to prove that. This has happened. This is occurring. We don't have the numbers to show that. You're jumping the gun. Wait for it. And then let's say that works. Talk about it being a potential, but don't talk about it being a fact. That's the difference.
Got it. Okay. Like I think we've come to the same place on that subject. Can I get you back on the what is your do you ever do like any kind of future projection stuff, or you just like straight up like now is the time?
Oh no, I do future projection shit all the time.
So then what?
I go down a bunch of roads of like, what if this happens? What if that happens? Let's plan for this. Let's do that. And that really always comes down to the same answer though, man. And you know what? It's diversification. Put your stuff on more platforms. Like I'll be real with you. We used Gilded. Do you know what Gilded is?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So we used Gilded for a while because I was like, what if Discord dies? Right. Yeah. We tried to put a bunch of stuff in Gilded, and then Gilded shit itself. It got bought by Roblox, and it just imploded. And I was like, I remember the day that it happened too. They got bought by Roblox, and then suddenly a ton of like random kids would flood in and be like, dead channel, dead channel, dead channel. When something wasn't said in like 4 seconds, I was like, oh God, it's the worst of TikTok I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like they just all flooded into the thing because it's owned by Roblox now. And we went just back to Discord, and we don't really use Guild anymore. We've locked it completely down. There's not really an alternative for Discord. I think that's the only thing that I have right now where I'm like, we don't have a way out there. Every other thing, it's like if Twitch dies, we'll have YouTube. Yeah. It won't be as good. They don't have as good of a live streaming experience. It's not as great for viewers. Like that sucks, but it does exist. And if we don't have something like, I don't know, TikTok, we're still going to have YouTube Shorts. There's so many different things, levers and dials that you can pull in the total social media landscape right now.
Yeah.
But if Twitch dies, I'm not only on Twitch, and no one should be only on Twitch. Nobody should be only on one platform. I'm so glad that they removed the requirement of you can only stream on this platform, because it allowed everything that we're doing now.
I was pushing for I was in so many conversations for so many years about that at every level, man. I know that they did that because it was a gun to the head type of thing. Like ultimately when paid contracts ran out, it's still, they didn't have to do it. I think that it eventually would have been challenged, like at a court level. I don't think you can do that because you're not W-2ing these employees, right? Like, but them removing that was a huge W for the whole platform so that people could diversify. And it's still, I have had to fight against a lot of broadcasters who say multi-streaming is terrible, that there's no data to support multi-streaming being a good thing. And like, I'm not going to like name names while talking to you, but like, it's a problem. Like I get a lot of people that don't understand, like I have so much objective data on multi-streaming being effective, right? We work with thousands of creators at my agency.
It's the reason why I started multi-streaming. It allowed a throughput of new people to come over from YouTube to our primary channel on
There's
Twitch.
no reason not to.
They go to Twitch is, the only reason they go on Twitch is because the viewership experience is better on Twitch.
Sure, they want to use your emotes, or there's whatever the live stream at YouTube like doesn't have the capability to do. Yeah,
I think that one of the biggest ones for YouTube, the only reason why a lot of people stay there, and my viewers talk to me about this all the time, is the fact that you can rewind on a live
playback
broadcast.
is so good.
Dude, If Twitch implemented that, they would cannibalize the shit out of YouTube
I know.
right now.
I don't know what.
I don't understand what they have.
It's a tech stack issue.
I know it's a tech thing. Yeah. I know, but it's just like that. So many resources should be put into that.
The CDN wasn't like built on the back of like rewinding, so you have to kind of like fundamentally re-engineer it. And and like some of the most amazing engineers that have been at Twitch, there's two in particular that like were at Twitch that kind of like found, and Emmett himself actually, the former CEO, that founded the CDN system, are not there anymore. So you have a kind of Warhammer 40K thing going on where like it's like we don't even know how to use this tech.
It's deep magic.
Yeah. It's like we don't even know how to use this tech. Like the back end of it's like EVE Online, right? It's like it's all spaghetti after a while. And so it's like, oh, we tried to add something, but we broke all of nullsec. I know you're an EVE aficionado as I am. So it's like the Blackout type situation, you know?
There's actually so much weird deep magic like that on Twitch. Like a really weird one in terms of monetization actually is nobody seems to understand what happens if you have a person that has Twitch Turbo and is also subscribed to a channel. We don't know if that guy generates ad revenue. Because Twitch Turbo, you generate Twitch Turbo revenue, but a sub, you don't generate ad revenue. And I've asked a number of engineers, I've asked Mike, we've asked all kinds of people, and everyone's like, I don't know. And in their wiki, they actually have had conflicting information. Their old affiliate wiki would say that you would receive revenue from this, and then the Twitch Turbo wiki would say you wouldn't receive revenue from this, so nobody actually knows. There's tons of shit like that at Twitch, man.
Yeah, there's a bigger issue on that too of like potential advertising fraud. That one of the reasons why we earlier, before all this drama happened, everything, like I started pulling ad budget from Twitch to move over to like YouTube and Meta in like 2022-ish. Like, and like one of the big reasons was because I actually can't verify if my ads are shown. There's two problems here. One is the one you just listed, which is like, if a person is a subscriber to PirateSoftware, does the ad actually get it count as an impression for an advertiser? And so the answer to this for me is conflicting. I think
if the answer to that is yes, that's awful.
It's awful, like, legitimate. But that's I have more data supporting that I do not, but it doesn't. I'm not definitive. Like it's not definitive. And then the second problem is embeds, which I know for a fact do show ads. So embeds, like if you put a pixel on, I know you're aware of this, right? Like you put a pixel on your website, that does show an ad, but that impression never gets served to a viewer, but it charges the brand.
I'm that one is more concerning to me, I think, than anything else right now, because you can see that being abused in real time where people will stuff a single pixel into those things. And Twitch has very clear guidelines for how large that player is supposed to be. Because I have embeds on my website, but it's a large player based on Twitch's guidelines, the exact pixel dimensions you're supposed to do. Yeah, they have a guideline for that. For your embed. And they list it up on the API of like what the guideline is supposed to be for the size of that, and you have to fit.
So people are just literally abusing it.
Yeah, they're abusing it. It's completely against TOS to do that. Like, let me go pull this up, actually.
I believe you, like 100%. Like, I've never like embedded a stream on the API like you have. So that's really interesting.
It's super easy. Like, you literally just pop it on there and it's done. But they have specific. It's called embed everything, and they'll say exactly the sizes for this, the dimensions for it. So you could pull up, like, here's all the API docs for you, so you can go and read through this kind of stuff and just have it kind of on hand. But they talk about specifically in here, like, what sizes are you supposed to have? How do you, like, what do you do in terms of, like, how do you get it to display on the page? Everything, like, all that normal stuff. And there are so many people that will display these things at a size that is not allowable by Twitch. And, like, it's bad, man.
And it reflects on advertisers too, because like if I have a person that's like, hey, I want to run, let's say I want to run 250,000 of ads and I want to see if this works. And it's like, okay, well 20% of your shit went to embeds and the impressions weren't real. It's like, well, what am I going to tell my brand?
Yep. No
idea. And the problem with that is like, okay, in a vacuum where like Twitch is the only competitor in the digital ad space, that's fine. Like, okay, like you can probably get away with like little things like that. But when you're dealing with the like 30 billion in revenue a quarter that AdSense is, like the monster that is AdSense targeting, how effective it is and how amazing it is, it's really, really hard to start justifying running ads. And like, I guess like the whole genesis of my post was, it's funny, we kind of came to the same conclusion because I also want the attention to be off of all of the drama and all of the bullshit. That's why I said in it here, it's like, I don't think they're individual streamers that are causing this. I think they're a catalyst for why currently brands have paused their ads. But overall, the problem is just a shitty ad system. Like overall, the issue is that they just haven't kept up with the other digital competitors, and that is going to hurt in the long run, and we should be aware of that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, I agree with your statement on that. I think that it is potentially dangerous. I think that Twitch has actually got an ad system that doesn't deliver ads in a way that makes sense. I think that they're scrambling right now to try and make it so that advertisers are a little bit more protected by doing this tag thing, which has caused splash damage. In classic Twitch fashion, they've actually caused more damage than they've fixed by doing that. And it's hurt a lot of people's ad revenue by doing that. And I think that right now, I'm just looking at the data that I have that proves we haven't seen it yet. but there's potential for that wave. It's the same thing over and over.
Yeah. Man, I'm sorry to have pulled you out of any work you're doing or slash factory you're building in Satisfactory.
No, I did my 12-hour stream. I'm good for the day, man. Like I don't have to sleep for another 2 hours. So.
Yeah, do you only sleep like 4 or 5 hours a day?
5, yeah, about 5 hours a day. I usually go to bed about 6 p.m. I'll wake up at about 11 p.m. and I get on stream about an hour later.
Are you one of those people that can do like just has a genetic predisposition towards that, where you're just not tired?
Yep.
That's a very small percentage of people.
Yeah, I can't do more than 5 hours. I actually get pissed when I sleep more than 5 hours. The only time I do is if I'm like badly sick. Like if I get sick, like my body's just like, nope, you're staying there, and like that's it. You know.
I wish that the first time we connected was moreover like I have so many questions to ask you about like your style of content creation and the things. I don't know if you've ever seen like I did like deep dives with DevinNash type of stuff where like I talked to Moon, I talked to like Quinn and like all kinds of people about like just like how they got to their success as a broadcaster. I would still love to do a session like that with you at some point.
Yeah, no, like let's set that up for sure.
Shit,
it's funny because someone in chat's like 5 hours. This dude's dying at 40. I'm 37 and I'm doing just fine. You know?
Yeah, there's a small group of people that just have a genetic precursor to. Peter Attia talks about this in Outlive. Like, there's a small group of people who are just built different, and they like everyone thinks they're this person is the thing, and so they do have like higher rates of Alzheimer's and dementia and shit like that. Yeah, but there are the people who they talk like Thor, where it's like they're like I get pissed and I literally physically am uncomfortable if I sleep more than 5 hours.
Yeah. If
If
I go more than 5 hours, I wake up angry. Like it ruins the day. You know, and it's one of those things where it's like I don't even set alarms, I don't do any of that kind of stuff, and I will just pop out, and that's it. And there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, man. That's
a real problem when I was it used to be a problem when I was a kid, when I was like 13 going to school and shit, because what would happen is there'd be a school night. You wake up in the middle of the night, in the middle of the dark, because your parents like, go to bed. And I'm like, well, what do? I just come play video games. Because like I can't go to sleep again. Like it's over, right? So,
yeah.
That's it. So it's just been like that my whole life, man.
I'm jealous, man. I would get so much more done if I was like that. Like I have a theory that a lot of the like really successful people in the world just sort of have that gene because they are just able to put so much more time into things, right? Like when you sleep like 8 or 9 hours and like you're getting ready for bed and stuff like that, like fucking half your day. Like I sleep like 8. If I feel great on 8 hours, like that's my today. And if I get less than that, like I feel steadily more shitty over time. It's hard.
If you're wondering why I blocked Dan on Twitter, there's a good example of it there in your chat.
Oh, I'm not reading chat. I just like I'm trying to engage with you. Dan and I have known. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't think that that's appropriate. And I know Dan very well. Dan and I think are friends. That. What I tell Dan, so look, I think Dan overall, what he is doing, I understand why he's doing it. I think that he is on a crusade to get Twitch to wake up to a lot of the real problems that they have, and I support that. I do wish he was not doing it with so many ad hominems, and I have told him that myself. I like the way he's going about it. It's that one aspect of it that I disagree with, but he's a very emotional and passionate man, and very capable, as it turns out. I would never want to piss him off.
No, it makes sense. I mean, be emotional and passionate, but be human about it.
Yeah,
don't be
human about it.
There's no reason for that.
Yeah. Same page, man. Look, I have an enormous, I'm not just saying this like to say it. I told you it privately. I've said it publicly multiple times. I have an enormous amount of respect for you as a content creator and as a person. I think you're one of the good ones. Like, I think that you're doing the work on the platform to put out good shit into the world. And I wish there were more of you. I hope that you, I hope that I didn't make you feel like you have to come on here and defend yourself or anything like that. But it's a huge W that you, to quote Kaisanat, that you did come here to talk about this issue, and that we could what do they call it? Break bread over this? Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I'll always be down to talk, man. I've been watching your stuff for a long time too. So like,
oh shit,
keep kicking ass. Yeah.
Thank you. Back at you, man. Like, no matter what people say about you, and that's like implied. Obviously, like the huge percentage of people are positive. That's like one thing you always have to remember as a content creator is like there's always going to be people that hate you, and it's like well, they're a small minority of the people that are actually like really loving your stuff and like what you put out there.
Yeah, no, well, thank you very much. I'm actually going to put a statement on the end of this because I think you have brought together a really interesting point, which is there are people that are going to see content that you have and see that you have the ad fill and see that there is a potential for harm, but they're going to believe that that is already happened. And they're going to see people that see my content and they're going to believe, wait a minute, there is nothing going on. There will never be anything going on. and both of those takes are wrong.
Yes.
Currently, there is nothing happening, but there is a potential for harm. So I'm going to put that on the end of this thread.
Good shit. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this Twitch chat is an example of how to have a good-natured discussion with two individuals and remain human. This is very rare what you're witnessing. What just happened today is a huge fucking W. That is an extremely rare instance of this occurring. Yeah, dude. I knew that if I talked to you, like we would like because you're such a cool dude, and like you can see things like objectively, and like you try. It's funny that like. I would ask you so many more questions because, like, I wonder if you don't have like a Zen background or something like that, because that's where I hail from, is Zen Buddhism. I've been like a really devout Zen Buddhist, and like trying to eliminate all the dogma.
That said that, but I don't.
Well, first principles thinking, right? Like that idea of like I'm going to stay in this lane. I'm going to remove everything I possibly can from the sides and just try to get to the issue. Like I really respect you because you're one of the very few people that can do that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm putting on this. I said, talk to DevinNash and stream about the entire thing, and we found an interesting middle ground. As content creators, we cannot see any damage being done yet, as per the data I presented above. As someone who works, and I'm going to write the rest of this, so someone who works directly with advertisers, because that's on yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to put this all together. I think this makes a lot more sense. And this is why I wanted to come on, because I'm like, okay, there's a lot of people who are going to have hot takes on both sides. There's a lot of people who are going to be believing all these things factually. Let's learn something. And that makes way more sense now.
And I think people have. Yeah. I think everybody is better for us talking. and I'll also put this up on YouTube, and I'll also amend my statement and make and say something similar. Like something along the lines of like, I don't want people to freak out now, but I want people to be aware, like in the long term, that like there's potential for this, make decisions, diversify, that kind of thing. Yeah. And then overall had a really good conversation with you.
Yeah.
Good shit, man.
Okay. Before I put this out, I want you to get your approval on it. So I said, as someone who works directly with advertisers, DevinNash can see there's a high chance of damage going forward based on current trends. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay, so I said, talk to DevinNash on stream about the entire thing, and we found an interesting middle ground. As content creators, we cannot see any damage being done yet, as per the data I presented above. As someone who works directly with advertisers, DevinNash can see there is a high chance of damage going forward based on current trends. Both things are true. Always diversify your content.
Yeah, I'll have a similar type of message. I'll just I'll just like send it over to you too. But I'm not too worried. It's not going to be like too like controversial. I'm sure you'll be cool with it. Thank you for posting that, man. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. And that's why I wanted to come on and talk about it. No, that's why I always want to talk about this stuff, because I don't think anyone's being malicious about it. I do think there's people that are like being really twisty malicious about it on the internet, but that's the internet. Right?
The unfortunate thing is that, one, like so many people are incentivized to give like the most extreme take on this because they monetize off that attention. That's like part one. And like part two is that I think there are a good percentage of legitimate grifters, like people whose entire modus operandi is simply to just stir shit up.
So many people I saw today were like posting like, my ad revenue is dropped, and they like actually had inspect elemented the freaking number because it showed later down the page that the number is wrong because they forgot to change that one. I'm like, you idiots. Like, it's so insane, dude.
That's like intentional grifting. When I first made my tweet about kind of the Twitch situation like a few weeks ago, I had so many intentional grifters come on and just be like you're wrong on this, or like, we'll just move to Kick then, or like Kick is like taking over. And I'm like, dude, like nobody cares about Kick. Like what are you talking? It's like 4% of the total. Like
I'm always blown away by the Kick narrative, man, because like Kick doesn't even have ad revenue. Kick doesn't have any like equivalent to bits, and like those are my primary drivers on stream.
Yeah.
Like it's not subs, man. Like if I moved to Kick, I would lose so much. Like our business would collapse. It wouldn't make any difference.
I've tried to run ads on Twitch or on Kick, sorry, and I tried to talk to the Kick guys about it, and I'm like, I want to give you money. I have budget, because there are streamers on there that like are like you can. There are plenty of brands that want to advertise with controversial broadcasters, right? Like that's a thing.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of controversial brands that we represent at the agency, and I was like, I want to advertise on your platform. Like I will physically give you money. I have budget right now, lots of it, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. How do I do it? And they're like, yeah, man, you just can't do that. That's like there's a physical system. I can't even like manually, like Twitch has been white glove for I even presently till you have to talk to the person at Twitch sales to run ads. There's no automated system like AdSense or Meta. You have to do the buy-in. You have to run the ads.
Wait.
Yeah.
They don't have an automated system for that, but they do for drops. Really?
Yes, drops are on. Drops are on it.
What?
Yeah,
Why is that manual?
Amazon built the drop system. That's a friend of mine. A guy named Ethan Evans built that system, the drop system. He's the same guy that made Prime Video, same guy that did Prime subs and like gifted subs. Like super awesome guy at Amazon. He's retired and now it's Steve that runs it. But like that guy was like one of my really great friends in Seattle for years. And he and so the drop system was built totally independently, and the ad system is still white glove with a high buy-in. I'll tell you. Do you know what the ad buy-in is to get an ad done on Twitch just to run one?
What is it?
Oh, dude, I can't tell you because I'm under NDA, but I'm gonna send you it on that's the number.
I love Friendier.
Yeah, it's a Friendier.
Dude, what?
It's that high. Yeah. So and like this is like.
So this is an interesting question, actually. Do you think they keep the manual process because it allows them to command a higher premium because it seems premium?
I think that's part of it, and I think that's why when Twitch talks to me about running ads, let me tell you what the CPM is that they, again, another thing that I'm like, that's the number that they're trying to sell me at. And that's what I've bought ads at. Like if I'm doing video ads and I'm doing like ads that lay over your stream, right? That's the number. That's very high if you look at that number.
Really
really high. If you look at that in comparison. So I do think
like YouTube. YouTube's not even close to
YouTube, dude, like gaming CPMs are like $3 to $6.
That's nothing. So that's the thing that I've been wondering about too, because I've talked about this before. Like the Ferret Rescue stream makes a ton of money that supports all of the rescue activities.
Is it because it's 24/7?
It's 24/7,
yeah.
And it's also got a large amount of viewership. We're sitting at about like 1,300 to 2,000 viewers 24/7.
Love it.
You're seeing a lot of that, a lot of ad fill. And also, when I talked to Mike Minton about it before, the advertising the category it's in, which is the animals category, is very advertiser friendly. Like very advertiser friendly. So because of that, they get a lot of ad fill. They get a lot of advertisers. They're willing to put stuff in that category, and it just makes sense. But I always thought, I was like, that is a lot of ad revenue for what's going on there. Like that doesn't make any sense. So like, no, that puts it a lot more into perspective because they didn't have that piece of data.
What's happening is I think that Twitch is selling itself as kind of like an exclusive. Here's the number one metric they use to, and this is a verifiable metric. You can look at it across, you can go to Solinome and look at this, is the amount of time that a user spends on the website is between 115 to 120 minutes per day. So that number eclipsed I think YouTube actually finally came pretty close to it. Their watch time has gone up a lot, but no platform for many years ever eclipsed that number. So they send you that number and they tell you, look, like you pay these CPMs because these are dedicated power users. They're going to buy your thing because they're going to see your ad over and over and over again. And that number of impressions is going to, like, I'm literally talking about the sales process because this has been pitched to me like so many times, right, on calls. And so I think that one of the reasons they're not doing an auction system, which what we would consider like Meta or ads, literally any other platform to be, right, is because they're trying to keep those exclusive CPMs. The problem is that they've run a lot of brands through this now. Like, you know, once you've like, there's not that many people doing like, I don't know, like $1 million ad buys per year, right? Like,
no.
It's not a high number, right? Like my market, the list of potential clients,
Legends maybe.
the list of potential clients for me as an agency, right? The people that I actually make money from is about like 15,000 people in the US, or like a little bit less than that, because it's all VPs of marketing. It's all people that make decisions on ad budgets. So like at some point, brands start to go, okay, well, we've run that budget at that CPM, and we're not competing. Like we ran an equivalent budget on YouTube at like a $12 or $15 CPM, and we got verifiable results. Like you gave us targeting data, pixel tracking data, none of the stuff. Like, so like, why are we going to continue to white glove with you? And I think that's like a big overall problem that Twitch is dealing with right now that I don't have a solution for.
I think the biggest thing there is I'm waiting to see how that kind of plays out for Twitch, because I didn't know that their entire ad system was manual. Dude.
It is.
That's wild.
It's white glove.
I think that's probably one of the most wild things. And I'm wondering if they change that to an automated process, if it would lose some of its prestige and they would lose ad spend overall. You know, they get a lot of smaller players, but the bigger players would be like, wait, it's just automated now, you know, and then we can just make a bunch of tests, and they do smaller tests instead of these big white glove, you know, individual things. Be like, this is the minimum buy-in, right?
Yes. I'm writing you a story. That's a real brand that had that budget to spend on Twitch. and they physically could not get in contact with ad sales. They would not return emails. I had to manually connect them with a dude.
That's rough, dude. That's like embarrassing.
You think about the amount of money that Twitch has potentially lost just off of a manual, like a white glove, like ad sales platform is like actually nuts that they've never built the auction system. And dude, think about
Honestly,
how much more money streamers would make. Think about how much money you would. If I could run $500 of ads on Twitch, like as an experimental. Yeah, just do it. I could log into twitch.ads.com and I could run $500 of ads. Like, how much more money would that be available in fill rates to do? Like, you'd be crazy. Like it would be crazy how much. Yeah, there's a reason why like 8 ads of the same ad get shown on Twitch like every time it happens, right? It's like this is the reason you're seeing the numbers on the back end. Yeah.
I think the thing that's most interesting to me is it kind of puts in perspective some of the weird ad behavior we've seen on Twitch over the years. Like, you remember when Burger King was putting out like $5 to advertise on a streamer's channel through a donation?
Yes.
You remember that shit like years ago? I'm like, okay, now it makes sense.
I did a YouTube video on this. Yeah.
It's so gross. The behavior was awful. But like now I guess it makes a little bit of sense. You know, it's because if it's that difficult to put an ad on the platform, if there's that much buy-in to try and get into it in the first place, and it's a totally manual process, like Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And it's like I've begged them to do this is like just let us run. Like there are so many brands that I have worked with over the years that would be like, yeah, put $10,000 on Twitch and figure out what happens. And because we can't do that, like what people don't understand about like advertising is like you never start with a $1.5 million or $2 million budget if you don't know what's going to happen, right? Like you start with an experimental budget. You're going to run like $10,000 or like even our budgets are oftentimes like less than that. Like I'm doing a lot of stuff last night. I was running stuff for like a dating app, and I was doing it like our users, like the people we were sponsoring, like $1,000 or less, like just like CPMs, like $15, $20 CPMs on YouTube. Yeah. So like
it's mass throughut. Yeah,
it's just to get good data.
It's not even just that. It's stable. Because you have more advertisement revenue over time. It may be smaller amounts here and there, but it's more stable, and you don't have these massive spikes. And it makes me wonder, like you saw the data they put out that showed like October was quite low last year in 2023. And you saw the one where it's like March is really, really high. I'm wondering if those types of anomalies could be explained by that behavior, which is like, oh, we just got like a big advertiser in this month instead of it being kind of flattened over time.
That's why. Yeah, it's because a significant advertiser will actually come in. And if they do put like a $1 million ad budget down on Twitch, like it'll be a huge difference in revenue and streaming because I think a lot of people don't realize that Twitch just isn't actually that large. Like macro, there's 200 users on YouTube for everyone on Twitch.
Yeah, no,
right?
It's insane, and I think I realized that once the YouTube Shorts took off because it was like turning on a fire hose, man. Like it's crazy to see that when you're like, wow, there's 2.5 million. It's like 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube, and that when you look at Twitch, you're like 2.5 million followers is like a massive deal on Twitch.
Oh, dude,
that is enormous.
It's insane.
Tens of thousands of people like that on YouTube.
Yeah,
you know, it's like it's very different.
If you look at like the CCVs of even like a 10,000 viewer Twitch channel and you compare it to 1 million true views on a YouTube video, like what a lot of people don't understand, and the way that Twitch shows the number of CCVs is that they show it as kind of a static thing, but it's not a static thing. It's actually churn, right? Like your audience is churning all the time. So that's you've probably experienced this as a broadcaster where you answer something, you answer a question, and then some fucking guy comes in and asks the same question 2 seconds later, right?
Dude, like, constantly.
Yeah, that's happening, and you're very good. Like I watch you doing your Ashes creation stuff. You are a master at just literally being like, oh yeah, man, here's the answer. And like never getting frustrated. I've never once seen you get frustrated answering the same question like 8 times. Like it's amazing. Yeah. But that happens because of the churn. Yeah.
The way that I feel about it is you're always going to get that. And the larger the stream is, the more common that becomes. Right. And the only times I get frustrated with it was if I end like a topic, like I'm in the middle of a topic and the person asks a question in the middle of the topic that I literally, like, I know that they were in the process of typing that as I said their answer.
Yes.
And they still typed it. I'm like, I know you were here. Like you had to be, you know? Those are the times I was like, I'm not doing that for you. But anyone else, if they ask again, and people will be like, oh, he's saying the same stuff. And I was like, yeah, you're asking the same stuff. Like, what do you want? Yeah.
Yeah. So that viewer churn is constant, but when you compare it to like 1 million consistent views on a video on YouTube like that, or like even some of the viral videos on YouTube that get to like 1 billion views, like freaking Gundam style and stuff. Like that's unfathomable on Twitch. Like the totality of viewer minutes on Twitch doesn't equal one of those videos, right? Like it's just such a difference. And when you the Spiritos per minute that I now understand that you've explained it, right? A big reason why you do see a lot of that variation, like you have a really weird data set point in 2024 of March. Likely what happened there, I don't know for sure, right? Because I haven't like looked at it, but like likely what happened there is that either a brand deal got served or a series of brand deals got served. Like if a group like one thing that there's a big Illuminati thing in advertising where there's basically 6 big agencies that control everything. It's like IPG, Omnicron. You can literally Wikipedia. It's called the Big Six. It's similar to the to the Big Four that run all financial stuff, right? So
let me look this up actually while you talk.
Yeah, look up the Big Six on Wikipedia. Big Six advertising agencies. Big Six advertising agencies.
Oh, I found them.
Yeah. So basically, all decisions on are made by these guys, WPP, Omnicron, IPG. And so what happens is, let's say IPG comes to Twitch and says, yeah, we'll run an experimental budget. We've got like, these guys have like $500, $600 million a year in ad budget. Like they are monsters, right? So if the eye of Sauron even turns for a second towards Twitch and decides to run ads on that platform, then like the entirety of Twitch can change overnight. And that's one of the reasons.
I wonder if something like that happened there, because normally you wouldn't see that kind of like driver in March.
But likewise,
like
why you see such a decline in like something like February is if one of those advertisers pauses for some reason, or if they do, like, which is why it's really significant if somebody like IPG that's currently running budget on Twitch on behalf of like 12 or 15 brands, like, dude, those guys make my agency runs about $17 million of ads per year. Like, so that's like our total ad budget across all platforms and across all brands. Like these guys are running like 500 to 600 million. So it's like, I could say, yeah, I'll pull my ad budget, and like, you know, like a platform's like, oh no, you know, but like if IPG comes to you and tells you to pull they're pulling your ad budget, that is a all hands on deck DEFCON 1 affair. Yeah.
So that makes more sense. I didn't know about the Illuminati of ad delivery, but here we have it now. This is some actually wild stuff. So those are pretty interesting to me. Yeah, no. So if they're doing that, that's a very, very big deal, and that's likely why you'll see drivers for change on Twitch. Then makes sense.
Yes, sir. Yeah, exactly. And that is probably why you've seen such drastic variations in this data previously, is because of the fluctuations of things. Like, because Twitch has an amazing platform for controversies, and there have been other advertising kind of strikes. Not I would argue like not as significant as this one that looks like it's brewing. But there have been pretty big concerns on Twitch. I'm trying to remember some of them. There was the hot tub thing where a bunch of advertisers like remember that, where like,
and then they made the hot tub category.
Yeah,
What's the best part? I had been campaiigning for 8 months to get a software and game development category made,
and then they made hot tubs.
Like a couple months, they did hot tubs on the whim. They're like, oh shit, hot tub. We got to make a hot tub category. Everyone memed on it. We're like, oh, I guess I'm gonna go make games in a hot tub, you know. And then
there's been like several times
first they were like, dude,
the red phone rings. Where like another one was when like I still can't make sense of this one. Do you remember when they decided to allow hentai on the website for a few days?
Oh no!
Do you remember this in the art category?
No, I don't. Oh wait,
recently.
no. Yeah, I remember this. This. Yeah, but like it was like they were allowing certain types of content, and the content turned out to be hentai, and then everyone was suddenly doing that. Oh
they
my God! They
updated their terms of service, and they said, "Hey, it's okay if you can draw nudity and like sexually themed content as long as it's in the constraints of your art." And of course, streamers took that to the highest level you possibly can, and we get big throbbing like it's just a nightmare. Yeah,
dude. The top channel I saw was actually a person who had 4 other people's streams running of porn being drawn, and they were just farming it, and they had like 60,000 viewers. I remember this. I was like, oh, what are you doing? Like, this is no, dude.
Another one was the Artifact streamers that started streaming like tons of so there's been like you remember that one? There was like
the Artifact one's still going on. You still see that shit.
Is it?
You're talking about where they're streaming copyrighted content?
Yes.
I've reported a number of those channels, dude. They're still doing it. Yeah.
Oh no.
You'll also see Simpsons Racing. Like they'll go and stream all of the Simpsons episodes in there illegally. Like it's totally the same thing. Yeah. Like any find that, and they go through and they sweep them out, like they do. But these are people hiding in categories that are like associated. You know, like they're close to. You know, sort of a thing.
Well, the thing that happened during the Artifact craze was there was a bot that was repeatedly just creating new channels because Twitch had to shut down its sign up service. They couldn't sign up new users for like 2 days. Because the guy would just go create another account, start up a stream, and repeatedly did that, and they had to put in some CAPTCHA or something to like protect that. Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, if you look at that category right now, it is half sexual themed content, all of its copyrighted videos, and there's one guy streaming actual Artifact gamer, and he has a single viewer. And
love
the
it.
whole category is just still filled. It's got house as the top one being watched. So yeah, no, that's still a problem on Twitch.
Oh,
they've
man.
had that issue for ages, man. And it makes me wonder, like, they need to have better, like, you know, you were talking about it before, is they didn't spend the $2 billion in multiple years to build a system like YouTube did. You know, you've got a problem with copyrighted stuff on Twitch, and it's mostly caused by lack of oversight. They just don't have the numbers to be able to do that kind of thing. They don't have a good automated system for it. It largely relies on people doing manual feedback to Twitch of saying, hey, this channel is a problem. I'm the copyright owner. And if that doesn't happen, it just stays up, you know?
Yep, exactly, man. And like it's like all manual reporting, like it's like numbers are reporting, and like I guess like the lack of automation on Twitch is probably the big, both in like terms of trust and safety, and because I argue that like this is something that I've kind of gone back and forth on, but I think that trust and safety just is human people. You can't really be objective by definition of just having human emotions, right? So like you're going to have ideologies, you're going to have political affiliations, you're going to have that leak through at least in some way on moderation. Like unless you create automated systems and you get clear guidelines to say this is offensive content and this isn't, which like a lot of people think is hard to define. They think it's a gray line, but no, like advertisers clearly, we totally know, like if you know when you upload a video and you go through all of those categories on YouTube where it says green, yellow, and red, and it's like this is okay, this is not okay. It like clearly defines it. Like everyone knows what these categories are, but I don't know why YouTube or why Twitch won't just take a firm stance on that and be like, we're literally just copy and paste it from YouTube if you have to, and be like, these are our categories. This is it. It doesn't matter if it's left or right. It doesn't matter if it's ideological or not. If you do this, you're banned or you're timed out or whatever. Like I don't know why moderation is still a human issue in this day and age on Twitch.
I think that also leads to perception of bias or actual bias being going on, where certain people don't get banned or they don't get banned for the same amount of time because you have a human being still doing it. There's not enough automation to handle that kind of stuff, and they've never really upped the automation game on that side.
Yeah.
And it leads to a detriment of Twitch as a brand in the public's perception, no matter what.
Yes.
They've had that issue for ages, and I've seen that I've been streaming on Twitch for 7 years. Like I've seen it the whole time. I'm like, wow, they gave that dude a 3-day ban, and they gave that dude over there a 30-day ban, and they did the same thing, you know, like, and you've seen that ages and ages. I always thought that one of the most interesting things for me was actually following like streamer bans and just kind of seeing those go through every day, because there was a narrative for a while of nobody gets banned on Twitch. And then I was like, no, people do get banned. They just get banned in weird amounts, like ones that are kind of disparate to the thing that they actually did a lot of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because of, well, I think that you said it really well. It's both the perception and the actual bias, right? Like the perception of the bias becomes worse than the actual bias, because once people perceive any kind of bias, like if even one streamer that does sexual content gets banned for 30 days and another streamer gets banned for 4 days, right? Like if even that just happens once, now everyone's like, well, everything's in question. What can I believe, right? Because and then the perception bias goes way ahead of the actual bias, and now we have like a huge problem.
Yeah, I always thought that they should just be like, you do this, this is the crime, this is the time, right? You know, like just put a label on it. And
exactly.
Say how much you get banned for. Make it completely public and be like, you put sexual content there, 7-day ban. You get 3 of those, you're banned forever. Like it's easy. You know, just shit like that. If they just made a standardized system, even if that's not the numbers they would use, any type of standardized system that was transparent would just be better than well, it's up to whoever banned you that day.
Yeah.
You know, and like, because no one knows on the outside of that. I do think there is a little bit of information they can give out to people as well to show like the impact of bans, because this is one I talk about all the time. If you get, how many people in chat actually believe a 3-day ban is worthless? How many people see that a 3-day ban is not valuable? It doesn't matter. It's a slap on the wrist, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a shitty, you know, whatever, 3 days, who cares, right? One of the things that I found that people don't realize is if you get banned for 3 days, if somebody's sub auto-renews on one of the days that you're banned, it doesn't auto-renew. It ends the sub.
Shit.
And a lot of people don't know that. So a 3-day ban is actually 10% of your subs are gone. A 30-day ban is a full reset for your channel. That is devastating, dude. Yes.
I never knew this. Is that true?
Yes, dude. It's horrifying.
So if you're banned for 30 days, you lose all of your subs and they have to resub?
They got to manually resub, dude. It's over. Because it goes to do the charge and it goes, this channel's been banned. No charge is going through. Your sub is ended. And that's that.
Whoa.
And a lot of people don't realize that.
I didn't even know that.
There's a reason I've never been banned, because I don't want to be, because that's scary as shit.
Yeah, that's crazy. Jesus. That can actually completely wreck your channel on like a 30-day. Yeah.
So when I see someone get a 3-day ban and people are like, oh, it's a slap in the wrist, I was like, they just lost 10% of their subs, man.
10%? Like, why is it 10%?
3 days out of 30. So if you do an average, it's an average of 10%, unless they get like a big, big burst in one day, or they're not streaming on those days or whatever. Luck of the draw, it'll be about around 10%.
Got it. Yeah, and they also run out of gifted subs too. So all the gifted subs and everything. Like look at like Kai Cenat, right? Who's let's say that Kai Cenat gets banned for 30 days. What he's donezo, man. The guy's got like 200,000 plus.
That'd be over.
Yeah. He's like got 250,000 subs and then like 250,000 gifted subs around there.
The only ones that persist beyond that are the ones where they've already done a multi-month sub. I don't know if
how many is that?
I don't know. Yeah. I have no idea for his. I think it might be held on Twitch Tracker. Let me go track. But one of the things that's really interesting about that is, while I don't know what happens there, I also don't know, do they refund you? I don't know. Like if you have a 6-month sub and a person gets permabanned, do you get 5 months
get your money back?
I don't know. Like I've that's a metric that I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
I don't know either. Yeah, that's interesting. It's crazy that that like there's two really strong authorities on Twitch and we both don't know that. And probably there aren't any Twitch employees who know that answer. Like that answer just...
Like Mike might know. He'd probably be the only one who would.
He might be able to look it up. Yeah. But like I actually have no idea if it refunds your sub.
No clue.
Yeah. It might be like the whole withholding payment system they have, where like if you just don't make the $50 to $100 that you make in revenue for the first time broadcasting, you just don't get paid out ever. But like YouTube has a similar system, or it's like that's just kind of free money for them to take after a while.
It looks like we can't see multi-month subs. Like Twitch Tracker doesn't have it. I don't think Solinome does either. I don't know if there's an API endpoint for that, but there's tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3s on there. And that's about it. And Kai Cenat's got 300,926 tier 1s right now.
Do you still have Twitch's Firehose data? Did you ever get that?
No, I don't have that.
We had it for a while, and then they shut it off for all advertisers, like mysteriously, like it was probably about like 8 or 9 months ago. So I think that data would be in there, but and we had a direct API for it, but now we don't have it, so I'm not sure. Like,
I wonder if they shut that off after they were shutting down all the things for like the breach. They started shutting off a lot of stuff after the breach.
They didn't give us a reason. There was no drama. They're just like, hey, we're just doing. They actually made a public post about it. They're like, hey, we're gonna reduce the API access for. I know Twitter did it. It was around the time that Twitter did it as well. Like when Elon bought the company, and then he was like, yeah, no more free data to train GPT on type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same kind of. I wonder if a lot of other brands were like, what if we turn that off and save money?
Yeah, I think they were probably just following the trend. I don't think there was anything like really dramatic about it. But regardless, that was something I could probably instantly pull up for you on another screen, and nowadays I can't. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, no, that's the kind of data I would love to have, to be honest with you. This all comes back to that same user voice we put in. I just want more analytics from Twitch, man. I've always wanted more analytics from Twitch. And if they can fit those into our analytics panel, like they reworked the analytics panel to be like 6 different pages for some reason. I don't know why they did that, but they did. And there's still not enough data.
And it's so
there's good data in there, but it's like
there is and there isn't. Like some of the data where it's like, here's how like the one that like really bothers me is this one. It's like, here's how the viewers find you by country, and it's like this % of this streamer and this % that, but it's like so okay, like on my page it's like, okay, 59% Twitch followers, 18% other channel pages, but like what is this? Like, first of all, that doesn't equal 100%, but also what is this a % of?
Exactly. What is the number? Is that 5,000? Is it 150,000? Like what?
Or it's like oh yeah, like 3% of your viewers are from Lithuania and like 50% of your viewers are from the US, and then it's like, and then it just drops off the cliff, and it's like, wait, what? How many people is that? And like, what's the total? And why doesn't this equal 100%? Or why does it equal like 130%? Where are these viewers from? It's like I can't get any, and then you go onto YouTube, and YouTube's like, yeah, like let me just tell you your entire life story. You know, like here, like what do you want to know? Like, do you want to know like oh yeah, so this grandma's dog looked your direction on a Tuesday wearing a funky hat and saw your stream, and this is the amount of times he watched it for. And like you can get that data on YouTube, right? But like Twitch doesn't have anything near that, and it should be even easier in theory to track live commitment by users logged in than it should VOD.
I think the only thing I've ever used that for is I used it for a meme on my stream, because I was able to track the average amount of people, the percentage of people that are watching the stream from Germany.
Yeah.
And then we found the only thing we could find with the data is the more people from Germany that are in my chat, on average, the more requests I get to play Factorio. And it turned into this gigantic meme, because like that's the only data I have out of it, and they're kind of correlative, but you'll never prove it. But it's funny, right? So we just made fun of that. We're like, that's the data that I got from the analytics pages. We could prove that Germans want me to play Factorio. Fantastic,
we did OCR for a while on Twitch, so we ran an overlay on Twitch, which we had a bot that logged into every stream above, I think it was like 25 viewers. My co-founder would tell me, but it was somewhere around that number. And we would just sit in the chat and we would collect all of the text that came from every chat. And we have like a fucking terabyte of like chat data, like it's just an enormous amount from years and years and years of doing this. We would do cool stuff like every time the reason we would do this is we would have like a brand like we did a deal with like Brisk Iced Tea, and every single time that they like somebody typed like Brisk in chat, we would use OCR to like see how many times they chatted, and then we'd use that as like a metric for engagement, right? And it really revealed like tons of interesting data like this, where like certain people's like country, like we started figuring out like, okay, for some reason like girl streamers that are like in the hot tub type categories like have an enormous amount of Turkish viewers and like an enormous amount of like like Middle Eastern viewers and stuff like that, and like couldn't figure it out because we were using OCR and like linking it to countries and stuff like, hi, I'm from here, and things like that. And that's the only way we've actually been able to like get good data out of Twitch, like because we can't trust their reporting whatsoever.
Yeah, no, that's super weird.
Yeah.
I love weird data like that because like it's just like, what the hell? Like I always love weird stuff like that because you don't even realize where the data is going to go. You just kind of pile it up and then you're like, what the hell? Like, this is such a weird revelation. I never would have thought that would have been a thing. So, I get that. I think that's fun. I always thought big data was fun. That's why I want the analytics, man. Like this, because I can't draw cool business conclusions from this, but also I can't find weird stuff like that where it's like, wait a minute, there's like this thing that I could learn about and we can change, direction or change flow based on the information that we get provided from this.
And Twitch doesn't realize that by releasing that information, you would get an ecosystem like YouTube. Like think about how many YouTube channels there are that are just teaching how to grow and like going through like things like average view duration and things like watch time and being like, hey, like look at this. Like when your watch time decreases here on this graph, you can make better content in that instance, and like you can do something different.
And not only that, Twitch would end up making more money overall by doing this. And that's always been a problem with Twitch, and it's why I keep pushing for this analytics stuff. Is like you would get less brand damage from people that are like, oh, I'm having a bias approach from Twitch. Twitch is ruining me specifically because of ad revenue, because they have no data to prove otherwise. And you would get more of, hey, when I'm streaming this category, I get less ad revenue. When I'm streaming this category, I get more ad revenue. Yeah, I know which category I want to stream in because this is more fun for advertisers, which makes Twitch better, as get more money overall. And makes that content creator at least understand what they're doing. We can't target by ad category either. We can't target by category for ads on the back end. Did you know that? So I don't think that's true for one reason. Mike Minton and I had a conversation about that, and we found that my Ferret stream was making 205% more ad revenue on a per viewer per minute basis. And he said specifically, advertisers like animals, like the animal category. So if there's no targeting there, how is that happening? If I want to do an ad buy from Twitch and I get on the phone with them, I cannot say, I want this to exist in the Throne and Liberty category or the Ashes of Creation category. So how is it targeted then? I don't know. If it's not targeted on specific, is it targeted based on viewer behavior at that point? Viewer behavior in country. I know it's based on country too. Theater. So tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 ads. So like tier 1, United States, UK, type of thing. And then it should be theater. And now with the like content I haven't bought ads on Twitch in the last like 2 weeks. So the changes to the content classification system also imply that they may have some kind of category system right now, right? So what could have happened is when did they have that conversation? When was that? Oh geez, that was 2 years ago, I think. That's a long time. I've bought yeah. So yeah, I guess I wonder if what's happening in that user voice I sent you. It's there. I wonder if what's happening is that as sad as this is, man, the people that I'm talking to at Twitch don't know about that functionality. And it's possible that they couldn't sell it to me. And because it's all manual, right? And so I've encountered this problem a bunch of times, like even in partnerships or anything. It's like they just don't know that's possible. It's possible that brain drain.
I don't know what else it could be, because if Mike is like in a super big like he runs what's his job? He runs ads, right? Or runs monetization. Yeah, he's the head of monetization. So if he's saying that you can target by category, I believe him. But I wonder then if just like our sales team that we were in connection with, because Amazon, I remember also talking to, because the way that Twitch sales works is there's two sales teams. There's an Amazon team that's just Amazon, and they can sell Twitch inventory, and they can also sell it on the back of their own Amazon ads that go everywhere on like Amazon.com and things like that. And then there's a Twitch specific sales team. And I've talked to both, and Amazon said that we can't target by category, and Twitch and Twitch said that it can't target by category. So that's why I was fairly certain. But if Mike said that, and then also you've got the data to show that your CPMs are so much higher on, and there must be some kind of targeting going on. Let me look into it.
I actually sent you his exact message on Twitter, so you can see it there. But yeah, no, the CPM on that channel per ad viewer, per ad minute, or per viewer per minute, because I tried to correlate it with that, is just higher, and it's higher by a lot, man, like 200%. And he said advertisers right there at the bottom of this.
I'm trying to find it. Yeah. More advertisers seem to like aquariums, animals, and zoos.
Yeah.
More work has to be done on helping streamers understand fill rates and decline rates based on content and audience. Your affiliate channel had a fill rate of 56%. Oh, that makes sense as to why.
Yeah, because then he's like, advertisers seem to like aquariums, animals, and zoos. And that's why I was like, what's going on here? If they're not doing category targeting, how does that occur?
So I think your CPMs likely might have increased because your fill rates increased, in which case that signals to Twitch to run more of their what they call it's the same thing on the MCNs on YouTube back in the day. What's it like what they call that inventory? It's like your high level ad inventory, like the ad inventory you sold at higher CPMs, and then because you're getting a percentage of that, because this is 2023, so the contract had already switched over from flat CPM. I think I understand.
55 there.
Yes. Yeah. So what likely happened is that stream, because the fill rates are higher. Okay. Oh God, I got it. Okay. The fill rates were higher, so that stream had the higher end CPMs that got sold, and then you made a higher percentage based on that. But then that still doesn't explain why he said advertisers like aquariums, animals, and zoos. That blows my mind.
Exactly. That's why I was like, okay, so you target categories. That was the moment that I was like, oh, Twitch is targeting categories.
I'm gonna have a very firm call with my sales team
statement. Maybe he just said it as like an offhand thing, and it doesn't mean that, but that seems unlike him.
So I mean, it does, because he knows that like a huge amount of people are reading the entire context of every one of these tweets.
Yeah, that's why I was so interested in that, because this was back when my channel was much, much smaller too, and I was just like kind of like, hey, why do I see this? And he was like, cool, time to engage with the community. And like, to be honest with you, the general discourse on the internet at the time, you could do that and have a conversation without your head bit off a little bit.
Funny how we've moved so far north of that.
We've moved very angrily, very fast. Yeah. But it's actually kind of cool to see that, and I hope that he can get into a spot where he can do that again, because it's nice to have that to cut through a lot of the lack of tooling that we have to prove things.
Did he private his Twitter because he's getting shit on so hard?
Yeah, he's getting attacked all over the place. Like he's getting blasted all over the place. People, I mean, dude, you know how it is. It's the internet.
He deleted his bio too.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He's hiding everything, and I get it. I super get it. Dude doesn't suck. Like I've talked to him for a long time. He cares very, very much so about the platform, and he cares very, very much so about bringing value to streamers. And no one will ever believe that. Yeah. And that's just kind of how that works, man. And like it's sad to see this kind of behavior, where it's like bashing the shit out of a dude until he's pummeled into a corner hiding his social media. It's like, it's not great. That's not a good look.
I'm a strong agreeer in that. Again, like I think that I understand why people are making the moves that they're making to alert advertisers and people and Twitch itself on like at scale as to like what these problems are. I really don't like the personal attacks. I like regardless of whether a business professional even deserves them or not. There's no, we can't have a productive and functioning society if everything is kangaroo courted. Like if we have a Batman style like Dark Knight type of thing where it's like guilty, and then the people just throw them onto the ice to fall into the river. Like that's not we can't create a reasonable society that way, right? We can never have like a good discourse if we do that. And so I wish there was less of that in this campaign. Yeah.
Yeah, there needs to be less of that for sure. And I that's kind of what I was calling out before, but I don't really see the general internet handling that any other way. It's a lot of very binary reactions, it's all of this or you should die. Like that's it's been like that on the internet for ages, man. Like I get it. It's very brigadey, but like I think with something like this, like that dude doesn't deserve it. Also, yeah, somebody was talking about like PirateSoftware also claimed targeted ads tailored to individual viewers based on factors like viewing habits, time of day, preferred categories. That's generally something that I see in other advertising places. On Twitch, we do see that different types of ads will play based on the person's actual physical location. And one of the ones that I always thought is funny is a lot of people in Finland get French ads for some reason, and they complain about it all the time in my chat. Yeah, because they're like, I keep getting ads in French, and I'm in Finland. I don't know why this keeps happening, and it comes up constantly, right? So we do know that there's country targeting. We do know that there's individual, like some kind of factors that they're doing for that kind of stuff. And if Twitch is doing targeting correctly, they can go deeper than that, but I don't know how deep they go.
Not
just
very.
know that there is targeting of some kind.
Yeah, so there's targeting by IP and like you can literally VPN in and see different ads, and like we've done that a ton. But as far as targeting by demographic, even though Twitch will give you an age readout on your own backend on your dashboard as a streamer, you cannot target age demographically as on the backend as ad buyers. You can't do it. So the targeting basically ends at IP address. They just haven't built a system.
Wild to me, dude.
Yeah,
because like that is, I mean, YouTube is all about that.
Oh,
man.
dude, like AdSense is like if I want to, I mean, I can literally so like on TikTok, for example, I can copy and paste an email. This is insane. Ready for this? Like on TikTok, I can copy and paste an email list. Okay, just email addresses. And then I can say, create a lookalike audience based on these email addresses and demographic. It will give you a 1-to-1 audience demographic, age, disposable income, types of like types of things they're interested in.
YouTube's nuts.
TikTok, that's TikTok. Like I think, TikTok, and Meta, Meta and TikTok can do it. YouTube can't do lookalike audiences through AdSense, but Meta and TikTok have some deep sorcery, man. Like they can get into it. And on Twitch, you can't target by demographic, you can't target by disposable income, you can't target by age, you can't target by gender, you can't, even though that data is apparently available. Yeah, you can't target by it.
I mean, the thing that's really interesting to me about that is we've seen like different types of ads that people receive, because like, dude, we get people talking about like, I just got this kind of ad, I just got this kind of ad, and then I'll ask questions. I'll be like, what part of the world are you in? You know, like, like we'll try to pull that kind of information. And more often than not, we see country targeting, which you're saying is IP targeting. I'm wondering if they're doing IP of the current session, where it is only access from that session. Are you getting it? Like if I VPN'd over to France, would I immediately get French ads?
You should. Or yeah, you should. You can test that.
Yeah, that's something I want to test. And the other thing that I'm wondering is if it's based on access history, because that's another way to do IP checking, is to check to see if this person is mostly in Germany or mostly in the United States. Like, are they an average viewer? Or what language are they typing when they're talking in chat? That's another one. Or what language do they watch on general streams? And if they're not pulling that kind of data, how are they commanding any kind of premiums for their ad targeting?
That's what I'm saying.
That's wild.
Yeah, I mean,
like, that's insane, honestly.
You're on the same page I am, man. Like the pitch is, we have higher watch time than other platforms, so users are more engaged, and they're bigger. They're bigger in terms of power users, and that's going to mean that they are like, when the pitch literally is like, when a person, and I used to sell inventory on behalf of Twitch. We were at AOR for years, so I gave this pitch to people, right? And like the pitch was, and I believed it at the time. This is like 2019-ish, 2019, 2021. We're at AOR for Twitch. We're running inventory. We're helping them sell ads. We're doing it on back of sponsorships, right? Like, and my pitch to people was, look, you've got 120 minutes of watch time. You've got a way more engaged user than another average platform. Yes, the CPMs are higher, but you're paying a premium for that because you're getting that user to be engaged and their eyeballs are on that for longer. So that's going to make sense that you should buy there. And then people goes, okay, right? But in reality, like when you look at the actual, what we call ROAS, which is return on advertising spend, when the data actually shakes out, and it's like, how many Monster energy drinks did you sell versus running an ad on YouTube or Meta versus Twitch? It's like it's incomparable. And it turns out you can't even get that data because, again, there's no pixel tracking. There's no way to actually like determine like what happens as a result of your ad being shown.
Yeah, getting no return on investment on that to like find out how many sales are actually even tied to the things that are happening on Twitch is pretty wild to me.
Even television has managed to do this through Nielsen. Like even Nielsen data can give you better results than that.
That's weird.
Yeah,
it makes me wonder. I guess the basic thing that I have coming out of this now is, what kind of a business does Twitch believe that it is? Right?
Yeah.
And that's really where that goes, is the way that I see Twitch is an ad delivery business. It is.
I agree.
Like it's a ad and content delivery business, and streamers are the ones that provide that content. They deliver it out. Is Twitch trying to pose themselves as a service for that and not an ad delivery business based on the direction that they're going here? Because they clearly haven't put a massive amount of extra, engineering time into building the ad system. And it makes me wonder why. What is the vision that they have for the business if that's the case? And
Well, I think for a long time it was broadcast rights. So what they figured that people would pay them similar to network television that like if you are Overwatch League or you are the LCS, you will pay to be exclusive on a platform like Twitch because you believe that the most viewership can drive from there. And during the era of I think you know my history, right? Like I used to run esports teams. Yeah. So like back in the day, like Twitch, dude, straight up paid us like a multi-million-dollar contract at CLG per year for us to have all of our streamers on Twitch and for us to exist on Twitch and for the LCS to be broadcasted there. And their deal with Riot Games was much larger, right? And that existed because there was an idea that like, remember that whole NFL Amazon thing? Like Amazon had like a big NFL thing on Twitch and things like that. Like the idea is the NFL did pay broadcast rights and those deals are like $50-100 million each. Like they're big deals. So like if Twitch can secure a few of those off of like, I don't know, like an NBC or somebody that like they're in the bag, but that never really transpired. Because it turned out that like again, it was an ad problem. Nobody makes any money off of esports ads, so everybody kind of just gave up. And then the franchising thing happened, and everything blew up. And now LCS is giving spots to Disguised Toast team. Like no shade on him, but like that's not the Golden State Warriors, you know?
Yeah.
So that kind of fell through. So now it's like I understand for a couple of years, like they could have been like, well, yeah, like we might be able to go the broadcasting rights route. You're not going to go the Twitter route. Everybody says, oh, why can Twitter survive without ads? It's because Elon Musk doesn't care if he loses billions of dollars because his Tesla stock is ripping because he just won an election and now he's a member of the, you know. He's like, so it's like, how do you put a valuation on Twitter when they literally just like yeah, who cares if it loses 5, 10,
it
15?
Doesn't even matter now.
No, like when he just got $150 billion off of Tesla stock ripping, he doesn't give a shit, you know. And so you can't compare that model either. So like, where is Twitch? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, and I don't know what the business model is. I did find it really interesting that Dan was able to put in the idea that, hey, we're getting 70-30 now as more of a standardized system. When that started to happen, when Dan Clancy took over, and then suddenly there's like a whole bunch of changes for this where like affiliates are able to get 70-30, partners are able to see a path to 70-30. I was like, wow, Twitch is finally going in the direction of like automating some of these manual, weird, esoteric systems, and then they just stopped.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, keep going.
Yeah. Just make it ads. You've brought up a really interesting point, and it's something that like back when in Emmett's days when they had like Emmett, Aragorn, like Ethan, they were all running it. Like I was literally in like daily conversations with everyone. And since like Dan took over, the conversation at the top level, I've talked to Dan like twice, and like the conversation has been like they're way less. As funny as it is, like Dan Clancy is like very what's the word, like outward facing when it comes to like being on streamers broadcasts and stuff like that. Like he'll show up, play music or talk or things like that, but like he's like very closed off to us, like to like buyers and like and people like that. Like we don't like have those audiences with him, and it kind of it kind of sucks because like when I was talking to Argon like a lot, and like I was talking to Emmett a lot, like there was just so much more insight into what the platform was doing. I still begged those people to talk publicly though. Like it would be so cool if like I wish that like instead of like Dan coming onto like a broadcast that's like 100, I know it's important, like 100 viewers, and like showing like a guild feature or something, and like talking to that person, that he could have kind of like an all hands would be like, yeah, like here's like the data, like here's what we're seeing, here's a problem. Like it still bothers me that he hasn't really responded to this entire issue whatsoever. That like he could clear up stuff like this instantly, right? He could post the data, he could be more transparent, and not just him, but like like Twitch in general. I just don't know why they're not doing that.
Yeah,
why total radio silence? Like, yeah,
it makes me wonder if they're probably checking to see if the PR of that is going to make even sense.
Yeah,
because if they put out a message, I know that the immediate twist is going to be that's all fake. This is bullshit. And it's like, are you fixing anything? But the way that I will always handle internet arguments, no matter what it is going on, always say something, always, because in general, the way that narratives and information work on the internet right now is if you walk into an empty room and one person says something and no one else says anything else, everyone goes, well, that guy said a thing and there's nothing else in this room, so I'm going to believe that thing.
I'll believe that thing,
That's just kind of how that shit works right now. So if the longer that Twitch stays silent on this stuff, the worse that's going to get and the more resistance they're going to have to even putting a conversation to that room down the road. They need to talk about these problems. And the biggest one, honestly, to me, is the tagging thing. If they don't revert that immediately, man, like that is going to turn into a shit show, because what you're going to have is you're going to have not just the top end streamers that are now putting on a tag to remove ads from the channel. You're going to have tens of thousands of mid-level and smaller streamers
that don't want ads,
not generating ads on the platform.
Because I know you are aware of that stat. You've said it on your shorts before. I caught you. I saw you say it. The bounce rate of pre-roll ads.
Yep,
that's what you're talking about, right?
Yep. And if they put a tag on there that says like politics, and suddenly they have no ads,
30% more viewers. Yeah.
and they get 30% more views, and they have no running ads either on top of that, Twitch is out tons of money.
Yeah.
Like tons and tons.
And advertisers are pissed because their ads aren't being shown. And so the problem, so this is an interesting place that we're at, right? Because like in my post, I talked about the CCL problem, and I think that like because of the lack of an automated system, this is the only gear that Twitch has to turn. So like if you don't fix the tag system, or let's say you just disable the tag system as it is now, like you say, okay, just kidding. You can now put politics on it and will be monetized. Well, now you have all of the pressure from advertisers that are saying, wait, what the hell? Like you said, we could demonetize our ads on this political streamer or something. Now we can't do that again. And so you're literally stuck. What do you do? Because like if you disable this, you have all the advertisers say like, what? Like why can't we choose where we demonetize our ads? And if you keep it this way, then you have the problem you just said, which is like you literally have millions of people that are just or hundred thousands of people that are disabling their ads. Yeah, I'm going to disable them.
I think the really interesting thing about that is when you have all those people disabling ads, you're going to have people like me that do run ads actually making more money in the short term.
You're going to crush
because our ad fill's going to go through the roof.
Your ad revenue is going to go to 100%. Yeah,
exactly.
Because it's not being shared with smaller broadcasters.
Because there's no other channels that are running ads because you have people that are just killing them off. And I think the thing that's really weird about that is, and a lot of people don't realize this, I don't think that's going to make money for Twitch overall. I think they're going to lose a shitload in broadcasting fees because they have to transfer all the data for all those streams. And if suddenly all those streams aren't like leveraging that out, I don't think you can go above a certain amount of ad fill on streamers like us that are actually running them. They're going to run into this point where they're like, we have surplus ads. We have nowhere to deliver them if this trend continues.
You know what's crazy
that's the thing I'm worried about.
That already happened, right? Like that in the past like 3 or 4 years, there was a huge push, if you remember this, where so at first the Twitch contracts paid for exclusivity, and then they paid, and there was a flat rate on top of that. You get paid like money to stream, and then they dropped the flat rate down and they put a requirement in for you to run ads. That's why all the streamers like you saw Soda Pop and people that were in no bit like someone like Chance, right? Like Soda Pop, and who would never run ads. If he then their partner contracts changed and their exclusive contracts changed. So it's like run 3 minutes of ads an hour, and you saw every streamer do that. Like they already culturally made a whole push on the website. They tried really hard because if you remember, streamers hated ads. Nobody ran ads. Like everyone's like, I'm not going to run ads. Like I'm not going to interrupt my broadcast. It took like a huge cultural change and push to do that, and now they're fucking it all up by putting the tag system back in. They're just ruining the whole thing.
Yeah, no, that's God, dude. I think this thing is scariest to me out of everything you've told me today is the lack of an automated ad delivery system.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
It's just leaving money on the table.
It's leaving money on the table, and it's also like you could solve that fill rate problem basically entirely by allowing us to run like $500 a budget of ads, because there are so many brands. Like,
I'd run ads for my stuff immediately.
Yeah, of course. Like why not? And like, by the way, like you should call them up. Like just call up. Like if you go to Twitch, there's a portal for it. And you can literally just talk to a guy. Hopefully, it should be advertising.twitch.com. So I'll find it for you. Yeah.
Twitchadvertising.tv.
Yeah. And so if you hit contact us, and you just select your country and everything, I think you do a couple of things, they will literally put you in a queue, and you'll just talk to a white glove salesperson and be like, I want to run ads on Twitch, and that conversation will be worth you having, my friend.
I want to do this. Yeah, I want to find out. Yeah, they have a whole contact form.
Yes.
It's just basically an email. No.
It's an email, and I hope you get a response. I told you a story of a brand going through this trouble, and I got lucky enough to get a POC at Twitch, and like I've had a constant series of POCs. You can also try to go the Amazon route. There's amazon.advertising.something.com. It's Googleable, right? And then you can call them up, and then they'll also sell Twitch inventory, and they'll have information. But this will be very worth you doing because I think you'll see the back end of the ad system, and you'll be like, oh shit, this is some ooga booga stuff. This is like cavemen slamming rocks together type of thing.
Dude, I think the thing that's so weird about this is if I go to YouTube, if I go to Google Ads right now, and I just click on it, they're like, here, add your business information, create your ad, set your budget, and go.
Just and go to AdSense, and you can run like, I want to run $5 of ads. I want 3 clicks on something. They'll be like, sure. Yeah, great, buddy. Go for it.
Have your $5 of ads, dude. Enjoy.
Have a great time.
Bye.
Yeah, and then so forth. Like, yeah, and like with Twitch, it's like you're already seeing it, right? Like you're already seeing it's a contact form. Like there's no back end. Like you've got to like hope that your email goes somewhere. There's not even an autoresponder. It's not even like, hey, thanks, we got your email. It's just like, where did it go? Am I going to advertise on Twitch? Who knows? It is literally like medieval shit, bro.
Yeah, no, that's wild. I didn't realize it was like that. The only thing I can think of is the thing we were talking about earlier, is that they're retaining that sort of a thing to make it a premium service, to really only go for heavy hitting advertisers. I
guess. I mean, like that is like kind of code to me, that they just don't have anything on the back end, right? Like it's just it doesn't look exclusive. Like they're not their web copy is not marketing it like run ads on Twitch and like this have a personal ad assistant who comes and massages your ads to make sure they go to the right streamers. Like, it's not like marketed that way. It's just kind of like, yeah, you can run ads, maybe contact us. I don't know. I don't care. What are you doing here? It's like,
I guess at that point, Twitch is a premium. They pose themselves as a premium ad service business. That's their premium ad service product, but their real income is through those partnerships, like with sports partnerships, like we were talking about earlier. That's the real major income, and then
it's supposed to be. Yeah,
streamers outside of that. It always is interesting to me because I know that certain streams, like we were talking about Asmongold earlier, streams that are not monetized like that are incredibly devastating in terms of cost to Twitch.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's wild. And like there isn't enough of people out there that are doing other types of content that do generate money that can recoup that, really. So I always felt like the streaming side platform of this is kind of a zero-sum game without advertising. Yes, I've always known that advertising runs platforms like this, and it's surprising to me to see that there's so little in terms of engineering that has gone on that side. That's very strange.
Well, the proof of concept is YouTube. Like YouTube successfully built a profitable ad platform, and I know people are gonna, every time I say this, like people are gonna complain about it, but YouTube ads work really well. People, one of the most important stats that YouTube sales will get you. I have a bunch of friends at Google, and like I talk to Google. I have a weekly with YouTube, and like we go back and forth. And like one of the stats they love to put out, and it's been verifiably true. You can Google it, you can look it up. Is that ads shown on YouTube do not affect watch time or viewership. Period. So when you go onto a Twitch stream and you watch 8 pre-rolls, you're like, I'm not going to watch Devin anymore or Pirate Software. I'm out of here. I'm going to go do something else. Yeah. But on YouTube, you can watch ads and it won't affect your viewing experience. And I think that's a huge W for YouTube. I think that's it. Like the whole ad experience on Twitch is like, when you like both on the back end and the front end, is like you ever go into like a restaurant or an establishment and it's very clear you shouldn't be there. just
100%.
Just culturally, like it doesn't feel right. Like you're like, I've misstepped. I'm not in the right area. I walked down the wrong street. Like that is how that entire ad experience feels on Twitch. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's super strange.
Yeah, man.
I the more I look at this, the more sad I am.
That's how. Yeah. I know. I'm sorry. I'm glad that I could introduce you to this world, though, because you again, I think you have a lot of voice, and I think that as you like get into this system and even have like a call with these sales guys, like you could change things.
I think the thing that I've always wanted from Twitch, and it's the thing I always talk about, is more analytics for us to be able to make more informed decisions as streamers. Yeah. And at this point, I want the platform to stay profitable because, to be honest with you, it's the best place to stream, like straight up. Like Twitch it's by and large the best place to stream comparative to like YouTube, comparative to like Kick. It's always been that. And if they don't do proper business strategies going forward, it always concerns me because it's like, I remember when Mixer happened and I was like, oh, Mixer's this big thing. And I was like, but where's the monetization? They're like, oh, that'll come later. And I'm like, like that's not how that goes, dude. And like, dude, it concerned the living shit out of me. And I remember there was a moment I was sitting in, God, what was it? It was PAX West. And there was a guy who came up to me and he's like, I want to. I was like, okay, if you were to do one thing right now, what would you change about my business? And he goes, you should stop streaming on Twitch and you should start streaming on Mixer. And I was like,
really?
No. And yeah, that was 3 months before Mixer died. And I was like, here's the reason I'm not going to do that. And at the time, what I saw was this kind of weird trend where Mixer had effectively incentivized botted views on their platform without realizing it.
Yeah.
They had created this currency, and the currency was a global channel point, effectively. It was called Sparks, right?
Okay.
And people would go and leave their computer on running overnight watching Monster Cat Radio, and they would watch this, so they would get Sparks on their account, and then they would go and watch another streamer, their favorite streamer, and throw the Sparks at them, which would cause Embers to give more money. Embers were like bits. So think channel points in bits, but the channel points are global and they increase the amount of money you get from bits.
Got it.
Weird system, right?
Yeah, it is weird.
And what ended up happening was they trained their viewers to leave their phones or computers on overnight watching a stream.
Oh, no.
With no one actually being there. You've created an incentive for botting views.
Yeah.
So then I was like, what's going to happen here is they're going to open up for advertisements and it's going to die because advertisers are going to see immediately that they have absolutely no click-through rate on any of this, no engagement whatsoever because they have a million billion different people just sitting there watching to farm sparks. And that's exactly what happened. It just died. Like the moment they're like, we're talking about advertisers. We're doing a thing for advertisers. Ad dead. And I was like...
Similar type of thing.
Your whole audience to be bots, dude. Yeah. Like, what did you expect?
That's such an interesting story. I never knew about like the Embers and Sparks thing. That's super cool.
It was terrible.
A similar thing happened with Facebook gaming. Like there was a whole push. There was a lot of like really legit people. Like they brought in like a whole team. They had like a guy leading that was really smart, guy named Patrick. And they had like a whole vision for it. Even Mark Zuckerberg weighed in at one point and was like, yeah, like I see like live streaming is the future of this. And then they pushed like an ability to promote live streams. So you could pay to promote your stream. And the entire fucking thing collapsed like overnight.
No.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like a lot of people don't know like the genesis of these platforms and why they died. And like the Mixer died because of like ultimately it's just like Mixer was an interesting one because Mixer was like a pet project of a pet project on like one VP at Microsoft. And so they never had like Microsoft's like full backing on it. That's why you never saw an official post from Microsoft or any kind of thing. Like I think at one point like the Xbox team got involved and there was a little bit of collab there. But like with like Microsoft as a whole, like you never really saw it, and so Mixer was just doomed, sadly.
Yeah.
and Kick is like Kick is an interesting platform because the funny thing is like
I don't know how Kick's ever going to run ads, man.
Like, well, they don't have like if you're the co-owners of Kick, and you know. That I know they say this, but and like they've invited, so full transparency, they've invited me on their show. And the problem has been that they have a show every Saturday. I'm going to go on the show, but the problem is, Thor, that they wake up, the show is at 10 a.m. because they're in Australia. And I wake up at like 3 p.m. So I'm like, guys, this is rough. And I will find a time to go. It's going to be the next few weeks. But like, I'm going to ask them about this, which is like, okay, so like you guys own Stake. I know that you've publicly talked about the amount of conversions you're getting on and your LTV per user for Stake. Like if you convert a user up for gambling, like that's like a $250, $300 lifetime value per customer, right? Like you're making a shit ton of money. So like, where's the calculus there that like, how many users are you upticking converting from Kick? And they always are saying like, oh, Kick is a standalone website. We're not affiliated with gambling or Stake at all. And it's like, but dude, like you're in literally the entire basis of your website is monetized by up-converting people over to Stake. So like what's going on there? And
it always seems shady as hell. You know, it really did seem super shady to me. And it was one of the things is I actually got pretty irritated at them a while back because they had a category called like it was like, God, I put a whole thing about this of like TV shows and movies. Did you see my tweets on this?
I did. Yeah. So this was the whole like they're just literally illegally streaming like dozens and dozens of I did see this.
Yeah, because they had TV shows and movies as like a category, and I'm like, what are you doing? Right? Like you can't just do that. And then they changed the name of it to Watch Party, Other Watch Party, because it was other TV shows and movies. They changed it to Other Watch Party because I called them out. Yeah. I was like, this is bullshit. What are you doing? And they forgot to change the URL name. So like the actual. When you're on there, it would be Other Watch Party and like on the graphic, and then on the URL, it would actually say Other TV Show and Movies. And it left it that way for a year, man. It was like that for a year. Oh. I made fun of them every month. And I think that was so funny about this is I talked about it on stream and I bashed him for it, man. And it became like top on live stream fail for like 3 days. And in the middle of that 3 days, Kick reached out to me to try and give me an offer to move to the platform. And I'm like, dude, I'm literally at the top of LSF making fun of you. Like, why are you contacting me?
Yeah, they don't care. I mean, like that.
So weird.
The amount of attention that you could bring, like, right? They love it. Like they are willing. They're willing to buy like a lot of attention. And their monetization model is really interesting. Like their contracts. I've seen tons of Kick contracts.
They just pay streamers.
Well,
like they just have like a payout system.
Do you know how the payout system works though?
Is it based on viewership? Because I have no idea.
It's based on time streamed. So what they do is on the back end, I've seen tons of Kick contracts, right? I've also seen XQC's contracts. So that's
weird.
So the way it works is they take your total viewership on Twitch or on the platform you're coming from, And then they say, okay, they have a calculation they do on the back end where they say, okay, we think that like they know how much money they're going to make off of viewers. I think this is the I think part. Okay, like everything I'm saying is factual, but this is the I think part. Okay, I think they're making a calculation on what they can up convert to stake. But that's that part. Okay, but the way it works is they take the total viewership, and then they make that rate. And then they offer you a per hour. Literally, you get paid per hour to stream. So when XQC said he has a $70 million contract, right? That's not entirely true. It is true if he fulfills all of the hours in that contract to stream there. But the total per hour rate would equal up to $70 million. He's getting, so I don't remember what the number is, like something like $10,000 an hour, $15,000, whatever. So the way they do every kick contract is they offer you a per hour price. And then they base that off of your viewership that you're bringing over. And
that's wild.
Yeah,
because you're basically, oh my God, they're a gambling company and they're taking a bet.
They're taking a bet. Right? Yeah. So they
that's
know
wild.
Somewhere on their back end they have data that says if we pay a person this flat rate per hour, we're basically guaranteed to make this money on the up end. They know they're making money off of XQC because they have some calculation where the viewer rate per hour is more than what they're paying them.
I mean, the only way that they can make money off of that is through sponsorships to convert those people over to their other side of their business.
Exactly.
Right? Like, I mean, that's really it.
And that's what I'm going to ask them. I'm going to press
at that
them.
point, like, how do you have any type of ad revenue or any type of revenue whatsoever being made off of a streamer with the cost of transmission?
When you can't run ads,
data,
and you're paying IVS a premium, so they're paying more than Twitch by de facto because they're using IVS as a backend.
Yeah, and they're using IVS as a backend, which we've proven. Like, we can see that directly. You can go to the F12 menu and pull it up.
Yep.
And then on top of this, you also have them taking only 5% of the sub revenue, which I know half of that is for payment processing, or maybe even all of it for payment processing, considering
because they're using Stripe.
What they're doing through that.
Yeah,
yeah. So Stripe is way more. So like when you're dealing with that, like there's no money being generated. That smells, right? Like,
yes, sir.
That's why I've always been like, I don't want to touch that. Like,
yep. And so, dude, to their credit, okay, like I told them in DMs last week, I'm like, if this is what I'm bringing to this conversation, like this is the ammo I've got. So like, and they're like, yeah, we'll do it. Like, we'll defend it, whatever. I can't wait to see what they're gonna say. I don't know how they defend that press because I'm gonna go hard because I have no reason that they're not a client of mine. Like I don't run any ads there. Like let's go. But props at least to Eddie for like actually wanting to have the tough conversation. So if he can defend it and tell me something that I don't know, right? Like based on everything we just said, IVS, no ads, 5% subs, payment processing, I'm game.
Yeah,
I can't wait. But
I'd be really interested because like I've also noticed they're trying to clean up their brand a little bit. They're trying to clean up the brand a little bit, and that makes me go. The first key I got from that is like, oh, they're going to open for ads. Like that's because there's not really another reason for them to do that, like that I can really see because they're running off of hype. They're trying to move people towards stake. Like I get it, but the only reason you want to clean up your brand in that case is if you're getting exterior pressure from Amazon because they have the IVS thing that they have to deal with, or if they're getting a thing of like maybe we should run ads. And that's the only thing that I can think of. You want to clean up a brand. Yeah, they've been banning people. They actually changed the other TV shows and movies category finally to the watch party. Yeah, they finally changed the URL. It took them a year, but they did it. They are cleaning up certain things there. They made statements about bad behavior from kick streamers and things like that. I hadn't seen them play nice before that, so I was like, you gonna run ads now? Is that what you're doing? You trying to clean up a little bit.
If they want to run it, I'll run it. I've got budget to run ads on Kick tomorrow, man. If they want to open up their ad inventory, I mean, it's physically impossible to do right now. I would still not run any of my brand safe brands over there, which are basically 90% of my clients are totally brand safe people that care a lot about that. And then our agency kind of got started on the back of a little bit more risky clients. So we have a higher percentage of risky clients than I would say other agencies do. So I've got budget to run, I'd run it, but I agree with you. I don't see any other reason to kind of quote clean up the act, especially with another huge problem that Kick is dealing with right now is the view botting situation. Have you looked into that?
No, I know there's a shitload of view botting.
Dude, the view botting, streamers were on Kick showing a lever they had where they could turn the lever up and the viewers would go up. It's
bad. Are you talking about on Kick specifically? Because I know it's happening on Twitch.
Well, Twitch is a whole nother discussion. So my
on Kick, no, that was happening. It was actually worse early on because you could you could send to their API endpoint that you were a viewer, and it didn't even need it. It was a headless thing. Yeah. So there were people that are like, I have 500,000 viewers.
It's so
and
easy.
They just spammed it at the beginning because there was no constraints, dude.
You can still do people know if this works? This would be my first time checking in with chat, but I'm pretty sure that can you still open up another instance of a Twitch stream and it doubles the viewership? I'm pretty sure you can. I'm pretty sure we tried this pretty recently. That as far as I know, like I know for a fact what you can do is you can open up a another instance, like a virtual computer, and then that'll count as a viewer. And that people were doing that did they fix it or not? Let me see. I need to pull them up to see if anybody knows. It used to.
Hard for me to test that.
Cannot.
I need a tester. Can't you do it?
Yeah, I mean, well, everybody can try it right now and open up another thing, and then just tell me if at least 4 of us just did it. I bet I'm one. Let's try it right now. Yeah, if you all just open up another instance of twitch.tv/DevinNash and then tell me if the view. Thor, I'm one of those people that like never looks at my viewership. I have no idea how many viewers I have because it drives me crazy to like go through those numbers. But if you all open up another instance, just tell me if the viewership meaningfully increases. But previously you could do that. And I also know that if you set up a virtual machine, you can create multiple instances. And the Twitch view botters are like, dude, it's so much more prevalent at the top. I just had a God, I gotta write you something. Hold on, I gotta write you all kinds of good memes. If you want to see the data on this is actually crazy. I'll DM it to you later.
Yeah, it's not working.
It's not working. So they must have fixed it.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, what's happening?
Oh, wait a minute.
What's happening?
Oh, that totally works.
Oh, it does. I told you.
Yeah, that went up. That went up by like 200 viewers.
Dude.
Yeah.
So everybody open up an instance of it. Isn't that crazy? So like we just.
That's bad, dude.
That's bad. Yeah.
So actually, I think this solves another thing that I was wondering. Mm-hmm. There's a really interesting thing that you'll see, especially if you have a large amount of people on one channel, is when ads play, you'll see a shitload of people, like shitload of new people suddenly enter. I'll get like plus 1,700 viewers for the duration of the ads, and then about 10 seconds after the ad break is over, they disappear again. I think it's that causing that.
Okay.
I think it's counting them as a double viewer because it's either ad blocking or it's the ad playing itself, and it counts as a double viewer. Mm-hmm. Because you could see it like even in like your page where you're like looking at your views after the stream, you see the little spike every time there's an ad break. It's wild.
Yeah. Man. How crazy is that that you can just do, like, it's that simple that you can just double your viewership that way, right? Like so imagine how easy it is to create false instances. And then I just wrote you something that's like really crazy. I got to send you it later because it's all in my DMs and stuff. But like it's like if I did a YouTube video on where all the bodies are buried and view botting, I would never work in this industry again. Because a lot of these people are my clients that I run ads through, right? But it would be like it would be like the end, man. Like there are so many top broadcasters that view bot. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised. I think the biggest thing is there's a lot of people that will talk to me and they're like, your audience is so engaged. And I was like, I think it's just because it's real people.
It's just real people. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, because like we'll do something stupid. Like I'll give you an example is I'll post a website in chat and I was like, check this shit out. Mm-hmm. And it falls over. We actually call it the goblin denial of service because there's so many people clicking the website. No matter what it is, it just dies, right? It's the hug of death, man. And like, yeah, we've been talking about that for ages. And like, it's funny because I've talked to other streamers. They're like, that doesn't happen for me. That doesn't happen for me. That doesn't happen for me. I was like, that happens every time I link anything. And it makes me wonder if they're not even aware that they're being view botted in some cases. Because I know you could have like a viewer that's just really obsessed and it's like, I want my favorite streamer up more. I'm going to view bot him. And like, you'd never know, man. There's
a ton of that happening. And then also there's embeds because embeds also count as viewers. And so people will, so think about, do you guys know FX Life? You know that, right? Thor?
Yeah.
So like how
they wild amount of
Yeah, and so how did they do it? Well, they had a popular website that was getting a lot of hits, and so they literally just embedded on their website, and they got 20,000 viewers. You can do that for Steam accounts that you can embed. Like you can embed anywhere, and so anywhere you could like a huge amount of especially larger broadcasters just have embeds on people's random websites for whatever reasons. They just embedded them because like they're running their own thing and have like a couple hundred viewers there and here and there. It's actually a really easy thing to check. You can go to this website and you can check the number of logged in users versus not logged in users, and on any stream, And if that number is greater than like 10 or 20%, like that person is generally either getting view botted or view botting themselves. And if you look at a lot of the top streams, you'll just see that they're like 50, 60% logged out users. So they're just not real users.
Yeah, no, I mean, that would do it at that point. I love that, by the way. Check bots.
Yeah.
I want to do that on my stream. I want to audit it.
I would love to see your stats.
I want to know, dude.
I guarantee that you would have less than 10% logged out users. Because
I wouldn't be surprised.
Again, I love I'm a old OG MMO gamer, came up on EverQuest 1, like love your Ashes of Creation content. And dude, like I sit in there and your chat is ripping 24/7.
Dude, they're crazy. I think the funniest thing too is when I'm doing something kind of intense in a game, chat stays really quiet, and someone comes in and be like, "Why is your chat so slow for 11,000?" I was like, "Watch this, 7," and then chat just explodes, dude. It's like people just spamming this, and they're like, "I'll never ask again." You know, like it just turns into this huge meme.
Yeah, it's also fun too when you say something like, "Hey chat, like what about this?" and then like, or you like just like kind of call them to action, and all the gremlins like come up and they're like, that's why I like Kai Cenat's always like W's chat, W's in the chat, everything www. Like it creates the Kai Cenat does such fun thing. It's so good because he creates this illusion of like this constant party going on that you're invited to. Like that's why I think that it's so cool to watch that kind of stream happen. Is like whatever he's doing right now, you go to his stream, it's like inviting you to like a party with like 5 or 6 other people there, and everyone's having fun. And it's always like chat, W's in the chat, everybody's participating. It's good ass content.